For exclusive access to extraordinary people, stream great chats on ABC iView.
I wanted to meet you for so long.
Yeah, me too.
With intimate interviews from Louis Theroux and ABC Off.
Have you said anything that you've regretted?
Emotional insights on Take 5 with Zan Rowe.
How old were you when your father died?
And probing questions in Stuff the British Stole.
How on earth did you find this?
Great chats and fascinating facts whenever you like. Stream it all for free on ABC iView.
ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
AFL.
What a stage. This game is coming to life.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
The roar will tell you the story. Fans are on their feet.
This game is electric.
Holds his arms out wide and tells them to get excited. Oh, the home fans like that. What a game. It's got everything. On the run. It's happening again. It's a whole new game.
Cause here it comes, here it comes.
One bounce at 60, one bounce at 40, one bounce at 20, and he goes.
He plays on from 52 out. The package bangs it through.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
On the left boot is welcome to the big time moment.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
Turn steady, go.
Something big is coming.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
Durham to win it. Goal.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
Gets onto it, and away it goes.
Tapped it twice with his left hand, gathered in the right forward pocket. That is brilliant.
Here they come.
That's class. Oh, he's a star. What a game. Brilliant.
He goes.
This kid is going places.
Hand pass to Sarong. Sarong pulls the trigger. Boom. Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment. Curls it around. What about that?
Hand pass to Elliott. Back to Hill. Superb finish.
55 out. He's given this plenty. That's a magnificent strike of the football.
He dribbles it along the ground for an incredible goal.
Grimes goes long. Bolton. High altitude flight from Showbolt. Snap from 35. And boy, does he run it. Good boy, Humphrey. Here's Humphrey to put the Suns 8 points clear. To take the lead. It never looked like missing.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
The final match of round 12 sees Essendon take on North Melbourne at Docklands in Melbourne. Bombers coach Brad Scott will take on his former side for the first time, having coached the Kangaroos from 2010 to 2019, including 4 final series. The Bombers eyeing a third straight win, and welcome back Dylan Shield, having missed the last 2 matches with a calf injury, while the Roos have been competitive in their last 2 matches despite losses to the Magpies and the Sydney Swans under interim coach Brett Ratton. Hello, welcome to Docklands in Melbourne. It's a cool winter's day with the roof over the top of us, so no doubt some hot footy to follow between the 8th place Bombers taking on the 17th place Kangaroos. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. There's no late changes with Massimo D'Ambrosio, the sub for the Bombers, and Tom Powell for North Melbourne, meaning that Taron Thomas is set for his first senior game for the Kangaroos in season 2023 after his career has hung in the balance, having not played since round 18 last year, and still set to face court in July 18th for those allegations that have been placed alongside him. Ben Cameron to call the action alongside me. Welcome, Benny.
Thank you, Clinchy. Good to be here. Looking forward to seeing Brad Scott coach against his former side for the very first time, and North Melbourne hopefully improved. We've seen improved performances in the last couple of weeks. They've only won 3 of their last 28 quarters, which have come in the last 2 weeks. They have not led at quarter time, half time or 3/4 time since round 4 against Carlton. So that's a long, long time ago. We're in round 12 in case anyone needs reminding. They haven't led at a change since round 4.
There's a bit of work for Brett Ratton to try and accomplish this afternoon if they can try and turn those trends around. It is mid-season, so the start of the buys, and some of the regulars just start to go missing. Unfortunately, we've got an absentee this afternoon, but Two-time All-Australian, two-time Jack Dye medalist with the Tigers and the Giants. Brett Delidio's here and ready to go. Welcome, Lids.
Oh, and fired up too, Clinchy. I was on the edge of my seat the whole way in. I can't wait for this game. It's going to be an absolute rip snorter. No, hopefully we get an exciting game. Some younger sides. I like watching young players play. Ones that I've been tracking the last couple of years coming through the draft. Wardlaw, Sheasel. I'm watching those boys. Tom Powers a sub, unfortunately, today, but. Archie Perkins I really like, so mate, hopefully we get an exciting game. That's all we can hope for today, but I don't think it's going to be a top of the table clash, let's be honest. You were on the edge of your seat for the end of Richmond and GWS, the two clubs at which you were a star.
The Brett Delidio Cup.
No, we had a good look at that in the stats box or press box before, Benny, but I tipped the Giants actually, but was very happy to see the Tigs boys get over the line because they've lost a lot of close ones, so well done to those boys. The Giants boys just couldn't quite get the job done. What did you say before? 24-12 inside 50s in the last quarter. 7 goals to 2 or something. And, couldn't quite get it done, but well done to the Tigs.
The Andrew McWalter getting his first win as the interim coach of the Tigers. Mark Murphy, unfortunately, out with gastro, so we needed a tough, hard man to come in. And Nathan Burke, the Australian Football Hall of Fame member, was good enough to sign up for it. Welcome, Burkie.
Hello, gentlemen. Yes, we're part of the grandstand team here. When one soldier goes down, another one steps up. But I had nothing else on, basically. Benny, we was going to start calling you Debbie Downer. That was the most downer intro to a game of football I think I've come because I'm trying to get fired up for this one. North Melbourne, they've played Collingwood, Sydney, Port Adelaide, St Kilda, Melbourne. They've had a really, really tough run. Now's their time to really come out of their shell, and you've just shot me down. So... all right, we'll see what happens. Well,
we have a spot now, don't we, on Saturday afternoons, Burke's Whack Yard, where Burkie just whacks someone at all times. The umpires are often in the gun, and I've copped it straight up here today.
You won't be the last, let me tell you that.
It's funny, I thought we were going to start on a real upswing and maybe deteriorate throughout the afternoon, but we'll try and find our measure. For the Bombers, there's been a lot spoken about what Brad Scott's tried to bring, the stability to the Bombers. Probably a little comparison with Carlton and what's taking place there at the moment, but sort of the real question this afternoon is with the bye not too far away, they've of course got the Blues before the King's birthday event between Collingwood and Melbourne, so the King's birthday Eve clash. So is there any sort of fluctuation in their dedication so far?
Oh, look, I think it's always, you get that little uplift, don't you, with the new coach and players. It's a fresh start, everyone's excited by what's going on, but then you get into these middle months of the year and it becomes a real grind, especially when you have some injuries. You don't always have your best players playing, but good to see Shield back, big Andrew Phillips back into the side as well today. So I think that Dylan Shield in particular makes a big difference to them in terms of their speed in and around the contest, but you can see what they're trying to do, and I think the games that we did earlier with Essendon, they defend the ground really well. Their ability to slow teams down was really good. I think they've waned in that a little bit. And it's hard to play at a high intensity for long, long periods of time. I get that. The best teams can do it. When you're just learning, you've got kids playing as well, a lot harder. But, they're on an upward trend, I think. Could do with, another key back, I reckon, to help out down there and potentially a key forward. They'll be just waiting for Peter Wright to come back into their lineup.
And by all reports, he wasn't too far away from playing in this match, so definitely in the next week or two. And they've sort of had a makeshift forward line, Burkie, with Cole Langford all of a sudden being the main forward and the leading goal kicker with 20 goals for the season. Sam Wiedemann with 13. Jake Stringer with 16. So with Jayden Laverty missing for a few weeks, they were able to combat that inside their defensive 50. And now it's just whether they can keep that momentum going. Where do you have the Bombers, Burkie?
I have thereabouts because I think they've got a fairly easy run home looking at their fixture. And Andrew Phillips back in. It's going to allow some of the other big fellas to push forward a little bit, so I think that can't be underestimated. But I think you're right with Langford. I get the sense that Brad Scott doesn't want to play him forward. Any opportunity that he gets, he sort of throws him backwards, but he goes forward and does a job for them. So I think in his best mind is Peter Wright comes back in, Langford goes back, and he's starting to look like the team that he wants out there come the finals. But no, I think with the run home that they've got, they're going to be thereabouts.
Yeah, 27 marks inside 50 for Kyle Langford, which is number 10 in the AFL. And like you said, he has spent a fair bit of time down back when that's been the want of Brad Scott.
The Kangaroos make their way out on the Docklands in predominantly their white strip, led out by Jack Siebel, Jai Simpkins there, Luke McDonald as well, and Todd Goldstein right at the front. So we got a close look at the Roos last week, Lids.
Yep.
Nick Larkey was probably the shining light with 5 goals. They all came after half-time.
They came late and the game had been put to bed. So, you still got to kick him, don't you? But I'm not 100% sold on... He was a shining light, no doubt. He played very well. A few murmurs around, he's out of contract at the moment. What's going on there? It'll be interesting to see, what the Roos. They'll be keen as to try and sign him up and keep him there as their big key forward. I know Cam Zerhout plays a lot better when he's in the side. Makes things a lot easier when you've got a big key target taking another key back. So
he's got one more year. So he signed till 2024, but I guess the lure is when you're playing in a side in the bottom two that potentially might be gettable, and for the stage of his career in which he's at, there might be the likelihood that turned 25 last Wednesday, so having been in the system for
so he's a pre-agent.
7 years.
Pre-agency, which is before you become a free agent. So you get some coming year early.
Yeah.
So you get a draft pick or 2 draft picks if he's worthwhile in terms of what he's being paid. Versus next year, if he goes into free agency and says, you know what, I don't want to stick around here anymore. Yeah, we're going to pay him 700, 800, 900 grand. Well, okay, that's a first round pick and 1.
What
so
can
could
he
you get 2?
What can he be?
What could he be? Well, he could be the first key forward for that side that's crying out for. I look at Melbourne at the moment. I look at them. I look at Hawthorn as well. I think they're crying out for a key forward. There's a number of clubs around the league that would love someone who's mobile, 6'5", 6'6", who can take a good mark and kick pretty straight for goal.
You wouldn't think that Melbourne would have room to get him. They've got long-term deals with Petrarca, Oliver, Brayshaw, etc. But Hawthorn, that might be an option.
You'd probably think so, wouldn't you? That would be an option. And most of the sides down near the bottom of the ladder, they've probably got some money saved up that they're looking to use, and they'll be aggressive to try and make their teams better, their lists better.
So they are the two curious sort of point ends, the bookends, with Ben Mackay out of contract and Nick Larkey a year later. When you look at what North Melbourne have done in trying to bring in Aidan Corr, he's not part of their 22 for this afternoon. Griffin Logue from the Fremantle Dockers, Coleman Jones from the Tigers. Would you think Nick Larkey would have to be somewhere up there towards one of their highest paid players?
You would be thinking so. Like, in terms of performance, he backs it up every year. He's been their leading goal kicker the last few. The other one's probably Luke Davies-Uniacke that I really like. I think he'd be putting his hand up for it, and in time it'll be Sheasel and Wardlaw. But hard to know. I don't know exactly what their contracts are worth and how much North Melbourne's got. As I don't have all those players, so I couldn't tell you, Clinchy, but even if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Eventually you got to the honest answer.
Yeah. You would hope they're not spending 100% of it at the moment, and I mean that respectfully.
Not 100%, but they've got to spend over 96. That's the rule for those who don't know. Teams have to spend 96% plus on their salary cap. But when you've got Goldstein and Cunnington and these guys, generally your salary takes like a bit of a bell curve.
Yeah.
Sort of towards the end or in the middle, you're at your highest, then you sort of drop off at the end. So those guys aren't taking up a lot, whereas previously they probably did. But Larkey's, to me, I can't find anyone else who's going to get more.
They do use move money around, so they might be paying more of a deal right now to get to the 96% to save up some more later for years down the track. That is something they do, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can pay next year's salary sort of up front, and that gets you up there, and then you get less next year, and that allows you to bring people in. So that's what the smart list managers... To me, the list manager, apart from the coach, is probably the second most important person at a football club.
Wouldn't be easy, would it?
No, it's tough. You've got to be a mathematician, you've got to be a football nuffy and picking talent and recruiting and stuff like that. So it is a very, very specialised job.
You're obviously the coach of the Western Bulldogs in the AFLW. The challenge for Brett Ratton, inheriting Alistair Clarkson's job for hopefully the short term, but now he's 2 weeks in, and the reality is while he's sitting in the chair, he's got to have the confidence and the ability to make the decisions that he sees fit. So whether that's putting Harry Sheasel in the middle rather than half back or half forward, how challenging would that be for Rats? So he's had his own individual emotional challenges with the way in which he's exited a couple of senior AFL jobs.
Yeah, well, if there's anyone who can do it, it's Rats, because he's done it more than anyone else in the history of the game.
Yeah.
This is his third time of actually stepping into this position. But I think it all comes down to Clarko. If Clarko still says, hey, mate, I don't want you to mess with things, I want you to focus on this, I want Sheasel to play the season out on the half-back line and just learn how to play the game, or that sort of hampers Rats. But I don't think Clarko would have done that, because the trust and the bond between those two men is very, very close. They've worked together before at Hawthorn, and they know each other really, really well. So I dare say Rats would have said, mate, it's yours. Oh, sorry, Clarko would have said, Rats, it's yours. Do what you need to do. Don't make me look silly. But go for your life. Do whatever you want. So that's why I think we're seeing Sheasel and these sort of players changing positions.
Taron Thomas, 23 years of age, playing his first game since round 18 last year. He had a respectful behaviours training over 8 weeks, and then Todd Viney fronted the media and said that they'd seen improvement but not to the level in which it needs to be. So he wasn't playing at any level at the end of March. He's been charged with threatening to distribute an intimate image, and that's been adjourned until July 18th. He's played 4 VFL games, in which his best was last week, in which he was able to gather 18 disposals, 6 clearances, 6 tackles against Collingwood in the VFL, but has been involved in the controversy. There was the video he posted to social media in which he was driving and deleted it. He's dangerous driving. So it is, it's just an interesting moment, and I felt like North Melbourne would have addressed it, whether it's the president, Sonia Hood, or the CEO, Jen Watt, to come out and say, this is the improvement, the progression we've seen off-field, which leads to the on-field. Because ultimately, all we can judge him on is what we see in the on-field.
Yeah, and that's it. I'm not willing to sit here and speculate on what he's done behind closed doors, so I've got no idea. But like you said, do we need someone to come out and tell us so that we're clear on the path that he's taking to make sure that, we're all right across it? I don't know.
But behind the scenes, the leadership group would have been brought in 100%. To the decision, wouldn't they?
Well, they would have been spoken to about what do we think in terms initially, what is the punishment for what he has done. But I think it's not like just a misdemeanour of turning up and missing a recovery session where the leadership group has a fair bit more say on that sort of stuff. Right, you're missing out this week, mate, because we're going to hold high standards. This is a fair bit higher than that, so I reckon it goes more so to your footy boss and then to your CEO and the rest.
Yeah, wouldn't be playing. Yeah, wouldn't be playing if I was coaching. He's got a court case on July 18. I'd say, mate, that's a date. You suck it up until then. Sorry.
So it feels like the narrative changed along the way, where North Melbourne decided it was actually better for him to be in the football system than be outside and doing his own training, and that's led to playing at VFL level and now ultimately back at AFL level. But it feels like there hasn't been enough publicised around what he's done behind the scenes, because, as I said, we don't get to see that. We're not aware of what the parameters were they put in place.
Exactly, and there would have been tick boxes. You got to do this, you got to do your 8 weeks, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. But I think something like this, we probably deserve to know a little bit more information other than, yes, he's playing, but personally, wouldn't be in my team.
So the teams are going through their final preparations. Matt Cletch alongside Ben Cameron to call the action. Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke are your experts on ABC Sport. The final member of our team sitting in the front row this afternoon is Lauren Borden. Welcome to you, Loz.
Thank you, Clinchy. It's very nice to be down here at Docklands today, even though the roof is closed, which is a bit of a shame. I can see the sun peeking out from some of the open gates where the tickets or where punters come in. I can see a little bit of sun shining in. It's about 18 degrees down here. So it's a nice afternoon to come out to watch footy, and there is a very big crowd expected, about the same as last night's Geelong and Western Bulldogs match. So it's not looking like that at the moment, but a few latecomers might be coming in. Like you mentioned, it's Massimo D'Ambrosio who'll be coming in to start as a sub for Essendon. That's the third time in a row he's played that role for the Bombers, and then Tom Powell coming into the same position for North Melbourne.
Thanks, Loz. Looking forward to your contributions throughout the afternoon, as you can do so on the SMS 0437 774 774. Jan says North need to bring back in the skillful Ben Cunnington. Well, he's sort of been overpassed by some of the young midfielders. Ben Cunnington unable to get his clearance game going, so having a stick in the VFL.
Yeah, look, it happens, Clinchy, and unfortunately, you get older and you don't become as productive as what you think you probably are, but you're just not. Your legs don't move as quickly as what they ever did. And I don't think Benny Cunnington's legs ever moved overly quickly, but his ability to win it in tight is as good as anyone. So I like it. I like the move of bringing in these kids and allowing them to play and develop.
I'm always a big fan of any Ben Seed.
That's fair.
Can anyone see an upset happening this afternoon?
Nope. Essendon for mine.
Oh, look, I'd love to say yeah. I'm going to say yes. There you go. Taron Thomas to kick the winner and make me look stupid.
So we're just about ready to get things underway. The Bombers with a chance to stay in touch with the top 8. There's 6 wins and 5 losses. And North Melbourne chasing their 3rd win of the season. All of a sudden for the Kangaroos, having dropped that game against Sydney where they could have won if it wasn't for the interchange controversy. They've now lost 9 on the trot. The final match of round 12, North Melbourne and Essendon. Here's Ben Cameron.
Goldstein and Draper. Goldstein hooks it to the back, trying to get on the end of it. Tucker eventually picking it up. Durham. Handball out to Merritt. His handball forward. McDonald tackled to ground. And a ball up at half forward for Essendon. Opening 14 seconds here on Grandstand AFL. Late Sunday game. First of the bye rounds. Draper flicks it down. Spits out to Stringer. High kick inside 50 for the Dons. Unable to mark Langford. Guelphy arrives. Handball to Menzies. Handball to Hobbs. Little fumble. He's stripped of it. And a free kick against Hobbs. So Sheasel to get it in the left back pocket for North Melbourne. No score through the opening 40 seconds on Grandstand AFL.
So Wiedemann alongside Ben Mackay. Langford with Logan. Menzies alongside Zeeble as Sheasel sends it towards half back where the intercepting mark is taken by Mason Redmond. Having a great season for the Bombers, out of contract at season's end. He plays on, sends it long and deep. Wiedemann, the target, works his way to the front, couldn't take the mark. Durham tries to charge his way through, breaks the Simpkin shackle, hand pass to Menzies, over his shoulder, he misses to the right-hand side, snapping on his left from only about 15 metres out. First score of the afternoon are behind the way of the Bombers through 90 seconds.
Jack's able to take the kick in, runs to the right back pocket, low ball out towards the City wing. Coleman Jones going up, doesn't complete the mark. Laverty there for the Dons, gets it out to Durham, into the pocket he goes, trying to get it onto the chest of Langford. In front of him, Zeeble sees it out with a fist. Throw in 40 around from the attacking goal here for the Dons.
He's a natural forward, isn't he, Langford? He just always ends up in the right spot. Ends on the end of him a lot of times.
Umpire brings it in. Goldstein trying to reach over the top. Live footy, Greenwood gets a handball out. Sheasel wrenched off his kick, just gets it away. Coming up, Heppel, he can't quite gather it. Out of play for a throw in. 60 around from the Dons goal now. 2 minutes played. Essendon 1 behind. North Melbourne yet to score.
Boundary umpire readies himself to throw it back in. Goldstein and Draper. Draper takes front position. Got a shove from Goldstein. All okay in the eyes of the umpire. Sent up towards the wing from Sheasel. And behind Coleman Jones tries to spoil it down. Thomas with a good tackle. Trying to lock the footy up on the City wing. And he's able to successfully do so. The ball stuck underneath. Big Dyson Heppel who gets to his feet and returns to centre half back. Bombers by a point. Tossed up in the air. Goldstein wins down the tap, spills away from Nick Martin. Sheasel's tackled, had an arm pinned. Umpire circles and will ball it up on the AFL logo City side. Bombers still by a point.
Umpire puts it up. Goldstein wins the tap decisively. Simpkin trying to get onto the end of it. Right there with him, Merritt. It tumbles out and a throw in on the City wing. Berkey, you called me a Debbie Downer for the stat earlier. North Melbourne in their 2 wins. In both of them, they've let it quarter time. When they've been behind at the first change, they have not won this year. So they generally start as they go on. Draper rids himself of Goldstein, takes it out of the ruck. Handball to Hobbs, handball to Martin, kicks the Dons inside 50. Langford out bodies load and drags in the mark. 30 out directly in front.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're going to be in front at quarter time here by the way they've started this game either, BC, but that was just pure footy away from the stoppage. Nick Martin, hasn't he become a player you just enjoy watching do his work out there on the wing? Durham on one, Martin on the other. High work rate and good finish. Again, Langford on the end of one. Surprise, surprise.
Kicked the first goal last week for Essendon. The defender come forward, drills it through the middle. The Dons get the first of the afternoon. They're 1-1-7. North Melbourne yet to score. We've played 4 minutes opening term Grandstand AFL. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke.
Well, all started with a stoppage close to the North Melbourne half-forward line. Draper just got rid of Goldstein and caught the ball from the stoppage. handballed to a free player who then handballed to another free player running through the middle and kicked it to 1-on-1 inside 50. It doesn't get much easier than that. And I think in North Melbourne, if you're going to be in this game, at the very, very least, you've got to be hard to play against. And it was basically two of their players pushed out of the way and no one chased the other players. So at least work on being hard to play against rather than how many touches you're going to get.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. The Bombers 13 disposals to 6, 4 inside 50s to none. Back in the middle of the ground. Trying to get the clearance of Stringer off the hands of Draper. Can't break away as he's locked up by Hugh Greenwood. And a lot of numbers around the outer circle. Draper slaps it down for the Bombers. Snelling with a hand pass to Zach Merritt. Links up with Stringer. Kicks inside 50. It's too wide for Wiedemann and sliding in. Ben Mackay takes the mark for the Roos. 40 metres out from his defensive goal. Wants to switch across the face over Langford and finds Sheasel. He looks up towards halfback. Greenwood the target on the Dock side. He sets himself and marks in front of Caldwell. Has it for the Roos at left halfback.
Hugh Greenwood just skips back initially. Now look around the Dockside wing. Kicks around the boundary in the Zurha direction. Up he goes, juggles it. Doesn't complete the mark. Ridley comes down with it. He's gang tackled by Spicer and Zurha taken out. Throw in on the wing.
I love what Greenwood's brought to his game in the last couple of weeks that we've watched. The one-handed flashing of the ball reminds me of my old favourite player, Anthony Koutafidi.
Draper rather, wins the tap down. Now a kick from Wardlaw for North into the middle of the ground. A costly turnover though, the handball's errant. Merritt slaps it on. Out into the path of Hind though, he leaves it for Merritt. Martin receives the handball for the Dons.
Has Menzies all on his own at half forward. It bounced into his head. It ricochets away and he gathers inside the centre square. Centering kick to Perkins. All too easy for the Bombers.
There's 5 of them down there, Clinchy.
Had enough time for the error, the regather, and then found a man all on his own.
Unlucky there, Menzies. The ball skipped through off the turf. He thought it was going to sit up for him. Straight into the bonds. Had time, though, just to wheel around, didn't he, Berkey, and find one of 5 sitting by themselves.
I don't know how the ball hits you in the head. You can then recover and still have 5 targets to hit.
Archie Perkins with 13 goals, 9 this season. Pretty much directly in front. 25 metres out for the opening 2 for the Bombers. Perkins is on the board. And Essendon skip out to a 13-point advantage. 2-1-13 to North Melbourne yet to score. 7 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport. You're with Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio.
And Liz, we weren't exaggerating when we said 5. We weren't just going, they had 5 down. They actually had 5. It was 5-on-2 inside their forward 50. And I've got no idea where the North Melbourne defenders were. I'm trying to get a glimpse of them now on the replay, but they pushed way up the ground and weren't involved in the play and just did not get back fast enough.
Just didn't quite work back hard enough, did they? Sort of like about Perkins, Martin. They get up the ground hard, but then they get back just as hard. Themselves looks.
Razor Ray tosses it into the air. Phillips wins the tap. There's a free kick though. It'll go to Phillips. It is all Essendon at the moment. Gives it off to Merritt. Running around the back. He'll kick out to the wing. Hind marks. Just forward of the logo. City side of the ground. Merritt runs on. And receives the short kick from Hind. Hind will run by him. Receive the handball. Now looks short inside 50. Langford again. It's like a training drill at the moment for Essendon.
Yeah, you know what it is, Benny? It is exactly what you do on your captain's run, where it's a bit bruise-free and you just practice moving the footy. You know, you want to go from one end to the other. Zach Merritt just ran around by himself. But Nick Himes allowed to just peel off and continue to run past the man on the mark. No pressure on him. 1v0 going inside 450, and our man, Langford, on the end of another one.
He'll lay boot to ball from about 50, 30-degree angle left of centre. Langford, the drop punt looks good. It's just drifting across the face. It's knocked up in the air and eventually goes over the line. A minor score. 9 minutes played. Essendon 2-2-14. North Melbourne yet to score here on Grandstand AFL.
They're yet to have an inside 50.
Yes. Hall out of defence for the Roos. Finds Luke McDonald. So what's that? 4 scores from 7 inside 50s and 2 marks inside 50. Says a little bit about the way they're able to execute it inside their forward 50. Miller Bergman takes it from Hall. Looking for options out of defence. Up to the city wing. He drives a long kick in the direction of Spicer and Coleman Jones, who comes out. Marks on his chest in front of Laverty. Between half-back and the wing. Not a lot of options further afield, so he can drive it as far as he can in the direction of Goldstein. He sets himself, crashes the pack with Heppel in front. Good pick up by Simpkin. Hand pass inboard to Tucker. Drives a long kick inside 50. Larkey one-on-one with McGrath. McGrath did well. Brought it down. Zerha's onto it. Fends off McGrath. Hand pass away to Shield. Works it to Scott. Swings onto his right-hand side. Curls it through for the opening goal. The match for the Kangaroos. Able to execute it from the wing inside 50 with real purchase. And the Bombers lead is cut back to 8 points. 2-2-14 to North Melbourne, 1 straight 6. 10 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Well, they had the mismatch down there, Larkey v McGrath, and I thought McGrath actually did really well. Be able to outbody Larkey and get the ball to the front, but the work rate, Cam Zerha just doing his best work inside that forward 50. Shields pushing down hard. Bailey Scott off the wing. Again, pushing down, covering those exits. That's what you need to do as a wingman. Not allow that easy one out, but then sometimes you get that reward. You love those ones when you're on the wing, getting a nice little handball from a forward. They don't come too often, Berkey.
He's having a good couple of weeks. Bailey Scott, his last 2 have been over 30 disposals. A goal last week as well.
Bounce back in the middle. Phillips goes up early, slaps it out the front. Stringer bursts onto it. Forward handball errant. The turnover, Miller Bergman. Able to win it there for North. Handball away to Phillips, to Zeeble. Kicks from half-back out towards the wing. Getting involved, Heppel brings it down. Hind onto the footy for the Dons. Handball back to Heppel. Phoenix Spicer tackles. Throw called by the umpire. And Spicer will get the free kick. Just forward of the wing for North, city side of the ground. We do have a policy here on this Sunday afternoon slot. Strictly former number 3 champions in the expert slot. So when Murph went out, only Berkey could come in as the kick inside 50 is chopped off by Phillips.
I like that.
Phillips has got it in the left back pocket for the Dons.
That was better than your Simon O'Donnell story last night. Saved that right to the very end and didn't quite have the same bang as you had there. As Martin tries to find an avenue out of defence for the Bombers. Shares it with Archie Perkins and out to Zerk Thatcher at right half back. Comes inboard. Nick Martin, what a great season he's having. Kicks to Redmond and Caldwell. They're still wrestling for it. Eventually Mason Redmond does let it go, and Jai Caldwell gets the mark at right half back for the Dons. So they're competing against themselves this afternoon. Kicks over the head of Menzies. Picking it up is Logue for the Roos. Gives it by hand to Hall. Wrist kicking in the middle of the ground. Phillips flies against Stevenson. Goldstein the crummer. He runs in to Redmond and Zach Merritt. And the umpire will ball it up in the Bombers attacking half of the centre square with the Bombers by 8 points.
Phillips lays it right down to his own feet. Eventually Phillips picks it up for North. Handball out. Hobbs trying to get onto it for Essendon at half forward. Handball to Langford. Squeezes a kick inside 50 at right half forward. Getting back Scott. Handball away to McDonald. Close to the line. Tackled by Stringer. Taken out. Throw in.
He's lucky that line was there, Benny. Jakey Stringer was sweating on him hard.
Saved by the line. Essendon by 8 points. 13 minutes into the first. I was pressed for time with my Simon O'Donnell story.
You were, yeah.
Got panicked as Phillips wins the tap down again here for Essendon at half forward. Straight to Scott. Another ball up.
I didn't hear it, Benny. Is it worth me asking you at half-time what it was?
No, it's not.
No? Okay, I won't.
Thrown up, Phillips wins down the tap. Caldwell bumped as he tried to get his kick away. Spills to Perkins of the Bombers. Hand pass missed Snelling. He becomes the tackler. And it's locked underneath Pete and Hugh Greenwood.
Being a Saints champion, though, Berkey, you would sympathise with the story.
Thrown up. Now I feel like you kind of got to tell it. Goldstein knocks it down. Wardlaw. BJ was in the special comments chair. It wasn't a great punchline for him either.
No.
And a ball up 45 metres out from the Bombers' goal. They lead by 8 points. Knocked down the way of Shield. Back after that calf injury. Hand pass set. Hobbs a challenge. Gets the hand pass away. Long kick inside 50. Langford couldn't take the mark. He's first onto it. Hand pass to Martin. Lost his footing. Was he tricked? He was.
Push.
And a shot on goal on a 45-degree angle. Only around 25 metres out. And Nick Martin with a chance to hit the Bombers' third goal of the match.
Griffin Logue there, he was a spare man in the North Melbourne defence. Essendon had brought an extra player up to the stoppage, so he was spare. The ball went high in there. He got the perfect run up to come over the top and smashed the ball 20 metres away, and he virtually missed it. So it landed on the ground, enabled Essendon to pick it up, get a free kick, and now have a shot for goal. Terrible defending.
A career best 31 disposals last week. Nick Martin shooting for his first goal of the afternoon. And the Bombers return to a 14-point advantage. 3-2-20 to the Kangaroos, 1 straight 6. 14 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. Earlier today, it was the Tigers with a thrilling 10-point win over GWS. 16-14, 110 to the Giants, 15-14, 104. Marlon Pickett with the winning goal for the Tigers.
He's a great story, Nick Martin, isn't he? Ability to come into the side last year, 5 on debut. You just know what you're going to get out of him, which is what I love. He's going to work incredibly hard up and down, be that link player, super reliable. Ability to hit the scoreboard, which I also love for a guy. Not always forward, sometimes wing. He's played a little bit on ball as well, but kicks goals and sets them up. Love it.
From Subiaco in the WAFL, trained with the West Coast Eagles and they overlooked him. He said last week, post-game on the ABC, I always circle that game in the diary. Draper takes it out of the ruck, gives it off to Merritt, kicks inside 50, too easy. As Snelling marks inside 50, he'll centre it as well, unselfishly, and sliding in low down to mark is Merritt.
That's bad.
25 metres out, as good as directly in front.
Just falling asleep there, the North Melbourne mids. One, they allowed him just to come out the front of the stoppage. Draper doing his best work. Merritt had the whole 50 to work with. Put on a platter for Snelling, but then to allow him to continue to run inside forward 50 and just take an easy mark dead in front of goal. Just not quite good enough. Not being hard to play against Berkey like you spoke about.
The skipper comes in on that slick left leg, and it's a Dons domination in the opening term. 4-2-26 to North Melbourne, 1 straight 6. 16 and a half minutes into the opening term. Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio.
Well, after he ran forward into a hole and took the mark 25 metres out dead in front, I quickly turned my eyes to where are the North Melbourne midfielders. And not one of them had made their way inside their defensive 50. They were all just thinking, Snelling's going to have a shot for goal. We'll just stand here and watch that. We lost another centre bounce, but not one of them pushed forward and chased their player. And Brett Ratton shouldn't be teaching that sort of stuff. He shouldn't have to come in and say, guys, when your player runs inside their forward 50, you go with them. They should automatically know that sort of stuff.
Basics, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Luke McDonald trying to be an extra in the air to support Griffin Logan. Ben Mackay found himself giving up an easy mark inside 50. Another clearance the way of the Bombers in the middle. Hobbs looks to send it towards half forward to 50-50. Shield and Tucker. Tucker brought it down, but Shields first onto it for Essendon. Gets the hand pass away to Dyson Heppel on the left boot. Kicks towards half forward. Bounces off Perkins. Greenwood gets the hand pass to Sheasel. Kick is over the head of Wardlaw. Tries to race back onto it. Runs into Merritt. Picked up by McGrath for the Bombers. Hand pass to Redmond. Kicks it out towards Snelling. Good tackle from Greenwood. Got the hand pass to Shield though. Here comes the run from Redmond. Up towards half forward. Nick Martin the target. Spoiled down. Zeeble for the Roos. Hand pass to McDonald. Trying to cut through traffic. Gets the hand pass to Sheasel. Now to Phillips. And the hand pass to Tucker at halfback.
Tucker kicks towards Larkey on the wing. Zerk Thatcher right there with him, and he knocks it away out of play right in front of Lauren Borden.
Well, the Bombers are wearing black armbands, as you can see out there on the field, in respect to the passing of Bruce Evans, who was a recruiting manager from South Australia and was very influential in getting players like Redmond, Snelling and Draper across to the club.
Thanks, Loz. My thoughts certainly with the family as Phillips wins the tap down. Getting it out Perkins to Hobbs, who dribbles a kick.
Oh, Ray,
forward
no.
of the wing.
Ray's,
oh, Ray. Oh, Razor Ray. He came in. He was leaning forward. The right hand looked like it was about to do the little paddle, and then he gave it the throw it in with the 2. Boundary throw in between wing and half forward for the Dons.
Bombers with 4 of the first 5 goals of the match. Thrown back in. Coleman Jones in the ruck up against Draper. Wins down the tap. Shields volleys it forward inside 50. Logue one way. McDonald the other. They collide. McDonald's now tackled. Taken to the turf. Umpire circles and will ball it up as Sam Wiedemann lays the tackle. 40 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Inside 50s have just been so dominant. 13-2 the way of the Bombers. Here's a chance for Wardlaw. Good composure as he sees a way through the stoppage. Turns it over, kicking in the middle of the ground. Larkey beaten. And Zerk Thatcher takes the mark for the Bombers.
He'll kick it straight up the middle, right onto the chest of Hobbs. Handball away to Merritt, through half forward, kicks out towards the forward pocket, and Durham's able to mark. 45 metres out, 5 metres in from the boundary line. He'll wheel and go low inside 50, right onto the chest of Zeeble in the right back pocket for North. 4-2-26 plays one straight 6. The Dons by 20 points, 19 minutes into the first.
Zach Merritt has his own footy at the moment. 10 disposals, going at 90% disposal efficiency, 100% kicking efficiency.
Had 32 last week, 10 coaches' votes, and got the 3 Brownlow votes with 38 and 1 last time against North.
McDonald short to Shields, who sends it long down the wing. That's Liam Shields of North Melbourne, intercepting mark. Taken by Ridley of the Bombers. Comes inboard to Stringer. Wants to try and poke it towards 50. Langford's got space. He drops the mark. Charging in, it's picked up by Shields of North Melbourne. Hand pass to Taron Thomas. Links up with Sheasel through the middle of the ground. Bergman takes a bounce. Has to feed the hand pass back over the top to Thomas. He gets towards centre half forward. Drives it long towards Larkey and Ridley. Larkey puts a fingertip to it. Finishes it on the goal line. Good transition from the Roos from half back to half forward. And Nick Larkey, streaming into the open goal, was able to finish off an easy goal eventually from a couple of metres out. Bombers by 14 points, 4-2-26 to North Melbourne, 2 straight 12. 20 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Well, it was their best bit of play, Berkey, wasn't it? I like was it Bergman coming through there? You said he had the option of kicking early, but it would have landed really shallow. Took that extra bounce, got cleaned up by Stringer off the back of that, but it was Stringer. But then it was Taron Thomas who was able to get it nice and deep and gave Larkey just that extra bit of time, get that separation. Didn't quite hang on to the mark, but good enough to finish it. So he moves so well for a big man, Larkey. Always gets on the end of him.
Averaging 3 goals a game against top 8 opponents this year, and Essendon starting the round in the 8. Bounce in the middle, knocking it down. Draper onto it. Phillips for North. Chips a short ball, leading up Stevenson. Marks inside the centre square, looking for a leading target at half forward and finds him in forward. Right on the arc of 50.
It's one of the few times they've won a centre bounce and actually got the ball going their way, and I think the Essendon defenders were caught a little bit napping there.
So Eddie Ford played the last couple of games. Going back on the run up to try and kick for goal.
Take some kick.
Mark standing right on the arc of 50. Wheels around to the right. Drives it long towards the goal square. It'll be punched away. Spicer tries to burst onto it in the left forward pocket. Hines there. Almost throws it out. Might have thrown it out. Zerk Thatcher's carried out in a gang tackle. And a throw to come in the left forward pocket here for North. Essendon by 14 points, 22 and a half played, first term.
Very lucky to get away with that one, Hind. He took a couple of steps, tried to burst out of play, but didn't get a handball out.
Thrown in Roos, deep in attack. Goldstein knocks it down. Merritt tries to knock it forward towards Hind. Spicer in front, can't quite combine with Phillips. And it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for the Roos. Just the 4 inside 50s for the Kangaroos in this opening quarter. They have scored 2 goals from them, though. So they've been efficient when they've gone inside 50. Thrown in, Goldstein palms it down to the front. Caldwell's onto it. Greenwood, good tackle. Ball spills clear. Socket off the ground by Merritt into the middle of the ground. Ben Mackay leads Wiedemann to the footy. Gathers for the Roos. Hand pass to centre half forward to Phillips. Has to get rid of it quickly. Langford came charging into the goal mouth. They've got numbers. Up goes Larkey. Can't complete the mark. And McGrath with a clearing kick to space at half back. The foot race is on. Bergman should get there first for North.
He'll gather on the bounce, retreat with the handball to Mackay, then receive it back. He'll go with a low kick that's chopped off by Redmond. He marks for Essendon at left half back.
Like he should have marked that one. It was a spectacular leap, but it gets 2 hands to it. You've got to mark those 15 metres out dead in front. If they're going to win this game, you've got to take every chance, and that was a good chance.
Don's working it down the city wing. Shield with it in his hands. He'll kick a high ball towards half forward, looking for a marker. Wiedemann flies down in front. Guelphy crunched immediately in a strong tackle, and a ball up left half forward for Essendon. 14 points to the good.
Tossed up in the air. Goldstein and Draper. They're in a tangle, and Goldstein with a little tap. Hobbs trying to clear it. Greenwood for North. Hand pass to Simpkin. Nice sidestep out of traffic. Releases Taron Thomas through the middle of Docklands. Vacant forward 50, tries to put it out in front of Zerha. Good foot race. Ridley's up for it. He wins the footy. Hand pass over his shoulder. It found Zerk Thatcher. It was a bit lucky. Now the hand pass away, and running out of room is Hine. The throw in the left forward pocket as Scott was putting on the pressure for North Melbourne.
Well, they look dangerous when they get the ball coming through the corridor and slingshotting off that half-back line.
Deep forward 50 stoppage here for North. Draper takes it out of the ruck. Push! Umpires paid a push.
I reckon they'd pay 1 out of 15 of those in the ruck.
Draper puts his hands on his head. He can't believe it. And Goldstein will get the free kick. Mark set 30 out, slightest of angles to the left-hand side.
And you know what would have paid that, Berkey? Goldie would have said, hello, umpire, how are you, just before the game, giving him heaps. And Drapes must have given him nothing, walked away.
Known his name.
Yeah.
Just a really...
That's it, slapped it up with him. Name's Billy, not silly. You've got to do that to every single umpire.
Billy, not silly. I like it. Todd Goldstein, the North vet, shows his experience on the drop punt set shot. And North Melbourne are hanging around. It's back to 8 points. Back-to-back majors for the Roos. 4-2, 26 Essendon, North Melbourne, 3 straight, 18. 25 minutes gone, opening term.
We said they don't pay them very often, but personally I think they should. He basically did. Goldie sort of played it up a little bit, but don't push when you're behind someone in the ruck. Use your ruck skills to be able to do it, but so often these days you can't blame the big fellas for doing it because...
You're rolling the dice, aren't you?
Yeah.
By pushing.
Yeah.
You're always rolling the dice.
Very rarely is a free kick, so just, especially when you're in your defensive area, but well done by Big Goldie. Took his opportunity and only, they 8 points behind.
Back in the middle, Draper this time wins down the tap against Goldstein. Hand pass to Merritt, picked off by Wardlord, breaks past Stringer and Hobbs. Not the best kick as he scrubbers it out to the city wing. Bergman's hand pass though, worked to Hall, looks up towards half forward. It's wide of Coleman Jones and picked up by Andy McGrath for Essendon. Feeds the hand pass wide to Hine. Good tackle laid by Stevenson. And the hand pass goes out of play, centre of the city wing. Bombers lead by 8 points with North Melbourne having kicked the last 2 goals of the match.
I like watching Jake string at centre bounces. He just shoots forward. He never goes even anywhere near the defensive side of the circle. He just shoots forward every single time.
Good gig if you can get it. Yeah. Draper slaps it straight down to Martin, who's the sweeper at the stoppage for Essendon. Handball away to Merritt. Gets it on to Hobbs. Kicks forward of the wing. Zeeble coming across. He fists it out of play. Double fists it just to make sure. 8 points, Essendon's advantage. Can North lead at quarter time, Berkey?
They need to bring this ball back through the corridor. That's how they've looked dangerous.
Draper slaps it to the front. Here's Merritt. A massive first term. Looks for Langford. Hands to it. Drops the mark. Lowe gets it on the rebound. He's tackled quickly. And a ball up. 35 out from the attacking goal for the Dons.
Langford's a bit fumbly today. Even the goal that he kicked, he fumbled that one first. He dropped another easy one. That one got 2 hands to it. It was high, but didn't grab it.
Goldstein down at Tucker. The former Docker took too long as he tried to find an avenue out of defence. Tackled by Jake Stringer and Zach Merritt. And Zach Merritt's going to get the shot on goal, despite Stringer standing with the arms outstretched looking for it. And a chance for Zach Merritt to kick a second goal. He's had 14 disposals. Just a game in which he's running hot, doing as he pleases, the Bombers captain.
Might be time to put someone a little bit closer to him, you reckon, Clinchy?
Might be getting 40 at this stage. A chance to try and answer back after 2 goals for the Kangaroos at the other end. The Bombers skipper, Zach Merritt, comes in. Good kick off the boot. He is running hot. 15 disposals and 2 goals in the opening term, leading from the front. And Essendon lead by 14 points approaching quarter time. 5-2-32 to North Melbourne, 3 straight 18 on ABC Sport. You're with Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio.
What I reckon leads about young George Wardlaw. You might say, hey mate, at least for the rest of this quarter, and maybe even for the up until half time, you say, you've got him. You've got Merritt. Run around with him. See how hard he works. See what positions he runs to. See what he does at stoppages. See if you can stop him. But the young fella's going to get a great lesson in how to be a good midfielder if you let him do that.
Well, I reckon you could pick nearly any of their mids to give him a lesson in that sense there, Berkey.
First multiple goal kicker of the day, Zach Merritt. As I said, in good form. 10 coaches' votes last week and 3 Brownlow votes the last time against North. No decisive tap out of the middle. Picked up by Greenwood for North. Gives it off to Simpkin. Low ball inside 50. Leading up, Coleman Jones drops the mark. Coming through Stevenson. He leaves it behind. Eventually picking it up is Greenwood. Handball. Sheasel tries to hack it out of midair. Now Tucker's in trouble again. Eventually gets a handball out. The umpire lets them play. The Dons swarming. And a ball up. 45 out from the Roos attacking goal.
You'll never see Harry Sheasel do that ever again in his whole career.
No, I think that one might get shown during the week. Goldstein wins down the tap for the Roos. Greenwood trying to hunt after it. Eventually does win it. Tackled by Merritt, dragged down. Umpire says holding the footy. That's a hot whistle. Not much prior opportunity for Hugh Greenwood there. And Zach Merritt with another disposal coming up. Possession number 16 and 2 goals.
He's on track for 60 and 8.
Interestingly, he started that last centre bounce alongside Taron Thomas, and they went in different directions after the ball was bounced. Up the wing towards Phillips, punched down by Goldstein. Siebel tucked in a tackle by Mason Redmond. Needs to be careful executing those ones. And now Siebel over the top of the footy, trying to knock it clear. And the umpire will ball it up on the dock swing. Bombers leading by 14 points.
Little chant going up. Phillips slaps it to the outside. Simpkin able to track it. Handball. Flub just tumbles out. Throw in just forward of halfway on the dockside wing here for the Dons.
If you're playing half forward, you'd actually be wrapped with that for your full game. 16 and 2. A couple of clearances.
Phillips works his way to the front. Knocks it to Martin for Essendon. Shovels a handball forward. Caldwell tries to get it to bounce and sit up for himself. Just paddles it on. Inside 50 now. Gets away from Sheasel. Hard up against the boundary line. Nice. Bullet-like pass onto the chest of Langford. Well played, Jai Caldwell. Kept it moving forward. Eventually gathered, tight-roping the boundary line. And a wonderful kick.
Certainly was, Benny. His ability to shake Sheasel, cut one way then the other, and then to put it on to Langford's chest. Not dropping those ones.
A left foot snap for Langford. Is curling home perfectly. Essendon are all over North. 6-2-38. Plays 3 straight 18. The Dons out by 20 points. The second major for Langford. He's got 99 career goals, closing in on 100.
Oh, good on him. You'll be able to tip the cap today, hopefully. I reckon he'll get his chance. If I was Griffin Logue, though, I'd probably start to change up my starting positions. He's just been led to the footy on that many occasions today. I'm not sure if Langford's 20, but I don't reckon he'd be sub-3, would he, Berkey? But he's getting off the mark super quick and in front every single time. It's a place to be, though, isn't it? As a forward, in front, give yourself a chance. Already got a couple.
119 games for Kyle Langford, and as Benny mentioned, now 99 goals, up to 22 goals for the season, leading the charge with no Big Peter Wright for the Bombers. Back in the middle of the ground. Durham bounces in to Simpkin. Simpkin's shoulders worse for wear. Tucker gets the hand pass to Greenwood for the Kangaroos. Away to Hall. Feeds it wide to Bergman. Looks out on the city wing. Trying to find an option as he sends it wide. And Bailey Scott takes the mark. Bombers leading by 20 points. Approaching quarter time. Sends it out wide for Stevenson. He takes the mark at right half forward. Maybe one last roll of the dice. Long towards Coleman Jones. And Zerha takes a big contested mark. But after the quarter-time siren. Wide opening quarter for Cam Zerha, just at the one hand pass. And the Bombers taking control of this contest, leading by 20 points. Doing a lot of the damage early and late in that term. 6-2-38 to North Melbourne, 3 straight 18. And Ben may mention the Roos have just won the 3 first quarters so far in 2023. They've won just the 10 quarters so far this season. So that's one area they'll be looking to try and improve, but the Bombers with the early running here leading by 20 points at quarter time. For the Dons, 2 goals to Kyle Langford and to Zach Merritt, individuals to Perkins and to Martin. Meanwhile, for the Kangaroos, their goals have come through Bailey Scott, Nick Larkey and Goldstein. Earlier today, it was the Tigers winning by 10 points over GWS, 16-14, 110 to the Giants, 15-14, 104. Jack Rewell with 5 goals. As the Giants booted 7 goals to 5 in the final term. Looked like they taken the lead with Kieran Briggs, who kicked a goal in the dying minutes of time on. Only for Dion Prestia and Marlon Pickett to answer. Pickett with the winning goal at the 36-minute mark of the final term. The Tigers with their first win under interim coach Andrew McWalter. Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL, on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Ah, you're here for the fortune telling. Please sit down. I feel your need to discover music, to be guided and surprised by knowledgeable and likable experts in your future. I see the ABC Listen app. I see you joyously grooving to Triple J and Double J, chilling with ABC Jazz, boot scooting on ABC Country, and expanding your musical palette on ABC Classic. Your reading is complete. No, I don't want your money. The ABC Listen app is free. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Draper rids himself of Goldstein, takes it out of the ruck. Handball to Hobbs, handball to Martin, kicks the Dons inside 50. Langford out bodies low and drags in the mark, 30 out directly in front. And the defender come forward, drills it through the middle. The Dons get the first of the afternoon. Merritt kicks inside 50, too easy as Snelling marks inside 50. He'll centre it as well, unselfishly, and sliding in low down to mark is Merritt. The skipper comes in on that slick left leg, and it's a Dons domination in the opening term.
And pass to Taron Thomas, links up with Sheasel through the middle of the ground. Bergman takes a bounce, has to feed the hand pass back over the top to Thomas. He gets towards centre half forward, drives it long towards Larkey and Ridley. Larkey puts a fingertip to it, finishes it on the goal line.
Caldwell tries to get it to bounce and sit up for himself. Just paddles it on inside 50 now. Gets away from Sheasel. Hard up against the boundary line. Nice. Bullet-like pass onto the chest of Langford. Left foot snap for Langford. Is curling home perfectly. Essendon are all over North.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The Bombers' highest first scorer in 2023, 6-2-38 to North Melbourne, 3 straight 18. Sunday afternoon footy with the Bombers leading by 20 points over the Kangaroos. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke on ABC Sport.
Well, an absolute domination really around the footy from the Bombers. Led by Zach Merritt. He's just been able to play his own game. I don't think anyone's laid a glove on him yet. 16 touches already, 5 clearances, 2 goals, 3 inside 50s, 4 score involvements. And he just uses it so well, going at 81% disposal, but 100% by foot for his 8 kicks. They're just absolutely giving him a bath around the footy though, Berkey. 16-9 clearances. The couple of times that the Roos actually looked okay was when they did win the footy and come back through the middle of the ground and showed us that they could get out the back, but that's been their only chance really. They kicked 3 straight. Larkey got on the end of one, and Bailey Scott doing some good work going down there off a wing, but other than that, it's just been the multi-pronged attack of the Bombers that I've really enjoyed watching. And you're going to have to do something about Zach Merritt, I would have thought.
Yeah, you mentioned 16-2 is a good game by anyone. Looking back to the Gold Coast Suns last night, I think Noah Anderson had 28-2, but the next best ball winner for Gold Coast was 17.
Yeah.
A couple of them had 17, so he's had 16-2 with 3 quarters to go. So amazing effort there. But 16-9, as you mentioned, the clearances, and it's not just scrappy clearances either. It's getting the ball free and loose and kicking the ball inside 50 to nobody. And we've seen Langford. He's kicked 2 already, but he's had a little bit of dishpan hands slightly. He's dropped a couple of marks that he otherwise will take. And you keep giving him those sort of opportunities, he could end up with a big bag. So got to keep an eye on with him. And you're right, Griffin Logie's trying to be everything to everyone. He's trying to stop Langford, but I'm also going to be third man up whenever the ball goes inside 50. But Essendon are getting too much time and space through the middle to actually bomb the ball in. They're just going, well, Langford's free, I'll just kick it to him, or somebody else is free, I'll kick it to him. So to force them to kick the ball long, they first have to get onto their players. when there's no one free, then they'll kick the ball long. Then you can be that third man up and come over the top and be the big, strong man smacking the ball away. So they're just not doing that first part very, very well. But Essendon's spread and run, I think, has been really impressive. And you've got Dylan Shield just playing on the wing. He's not going in the middle. So we know how much he runs up and down. And Durham on the other wing, he runs up and down. So the spread and ability to sort of get on the end of the ball from Essendon has been really impressive.
He scored 41 disposals on a couple of occasions, Zach Merritt, so that's his career best, and that's on offer back in 2021 and 2018. Bombers leading by 20 points as we head into the second quarter. Goldstein gets the clearance. Half pass away to Thomas. Sends it long inside 50. Coleman Jones the target. Well read off the hands by Andy McGrath. Kicks towards half back for the Bombers. Bailey Smith in front. Gathers. Sold Martin away some candy. Chips it inside 50 and finds Coleman Jones on a 45-degree angle in the left forward pocket. He'll kick from about 50 metres out.
That's what I like about Bailey Scott is he continually does his work on that wing, always covering those exits. He'll run up and down all day for you. He didn't kick it as well last week, but he's going okay so far. He's given Coleman Jones a real good look at this one.
Callum Coleman Jones, 2 goals so far this season through his 3 matches. Finally getting a crack at it. He comes in from 45 and hangs it out to the left, the minor score. Bombers lead by 19 points. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Jai Simpkin left the quarter-time huddle early to go down to the rooms with the club doctor. So we saw him clutch his shoulder at the end of the first term. Not sure why he's in the rooms exactly at the moment, but I'll keep you posted.
Thanks, Loz. Ridley goes straight up the middle. Eventually the Dons win it through Draper, who gives it off to Laverty. A kick out towards the City wing. Mackay's there for North. Handball to Scott. Handball to Spicer. Takes a bounce. Now runs through the logo. Takes a second bounce. About to be run down. Handball away to Stevenson. Handball to Greenwood. To Shields, who will kick towards the attacking point of the square. Tucker marks. Looks inside 50. Right on the 50. The mark taken by Ford, who wants to go short. Larkey on the lead. Slides and marks. Well worked by North.
Yeah. Good passage of play. Their ability to get it inside and then out to Tucker and on to Ford, who hit up hard as a half forward. And then Larkey, he'll always come with the ball really, really hard. Got good separation, but a good little kick into a pocket of space. It couldn't have got anywhere else. Just got to do that, finish off the good work now.
To keep North Melbourne fans interested, Larkey comes in and misses right. Sort of chipped it on goal in some respects. Essendon by 18 points.
McGrath quickly into Laverty, gives the hand pass back to Andy McGrath, up to Heppel. He's able to gather just before it hit the turf in front of Darcy Tucker. Left half back for the Bombers. Chips it over the top just 15 metres, and McGrath has it for a third involvement. Across half back. Andy McGrath veers out to the right. He's got Stringer free, and Guelphy. Guelphy takes the mark in front of Luke McDonald. Veers onto his right. Chips it forward to Zach Merritt. This is just far too easy as they control the tempo around the dock swing. Merritt has it hard out to the left, just a few metres in from the boundary. Spots Shield all on his own without an opponent. As Hugh Greenwood turns left and turns right with his arms outstretched. He's going to give the hand pass to Ridley. On the run, the defender from 52 misses to the left-hand side. They are toying with them at the moment. And the Bombers lead by 19 points, 3 minutes into the second quarter.
Berkey, I've got some more bad news for you. North Melbourne have only won 1 second term this year.
Well, there's a chance.
They're in front at the moment in this term, aren't they, Les?
They're due. That's what you're saying? They're due.
Ball goes long. Ridley goes up and takes the mark for Essendon. They get it back. Kicks into the middle of the ground. What a spot up Perkins. Perkins will kick towards the pocket. And Wiedemann easily gets around Zeeble and brings in the overhead mark. 35 out, 30-degree angle to the left-hand side.
He was the missing player in that first quarter. I think he only had the one handball. And the amount of times the ball was going inside 50, he must have been a great decoy for the other forwards, giving them plenty of space. But I'm pretty sure he's happy. Now he's got the footy and the shot for goal.
Was goalless last week in their 50-point win over the Eagles. His drop punt here is away to the right. Badly. And in the end, it's marked right alongside the behind post by Goldstein.
He swings it out to Aaron Hall, who wants to switch it all the way back to Jack Siebel, just 10 metres out from his defensive goal, out to Tucker, who marks in the right back pocket. He has Ford free at half-back, spots him up with a kick, chips it inboard now, and Liam Shields takes the mark. Kick mark game for the Roos as he works it in the middle of the ground, and Taron Thomas marks. Looking for options as he searches across half forward. Thomas sends it out towards Coleman Jones at full stretch. He takes the mark in front of Zirk Thatcher, not far from where Lauren Borden's watching on.
This could be bad news for Jai Simpkin. He's still in the rooms, and Tom Powell has put his playing jumper on and he's sitting on the bench, so we'll keep you posted.
Thanks, Loz. So not good for the North Melbourne co-captain. Inside 50, tough one for Larkey. Flying from behind, and Ridley's able to juggle the mark for Essendon, 40 metres out from his defensive goal. Bombers leading by 19 points through 5 minutes in the second term.
No Luke Davies-Uniacke for North today, and now they lose their other prime mover in the midfield as Essendon try to swing it out towards the city wing. Hall will win it back for North. Kicks to Greenwood. Marks and chips short to Shields. Shield will go inside attacking 50, and Coleman Jones coming in from the side. He marks over the top of Ridley and also Larkey. 35 out on a 30-degree angle right-hand side.
So he just went unchecked, didn't he, after that mark out here on the wing. Just snuck down this side of the ground. Good for Larkey to pull out, realising his teammate had a clear run at that ball. No one was going to be able to obstruct him. It's a nice ball in, though, for him to be able to get up. And his last kick was a bit of a Black Hawk down, so hopefully this one can spin straight.
Needs to finish for North. He comes in. It spins like a drop punt and goes straight through the middle. Coleman Jones kicks the opening goal of the second term. And North Melbourne hit within touch of Essendon. 6-3-39 the Dons. North 4-2-26. 6.5 into the second.
He's super important, this guy. One, he takes defenders away from flooding Nick Larkey, allows him to get up at the footy. But Essendon don't necessarily have a key defender anywhere near his size. He towers over every single one of them. So if he can get himself into dangerous positions and get some good feed, he should be able to actually take a few marks. So that's his third mark we've seen so far this quarter. Their first goal was a big contested mark from him over on the far side on the wing, which they're able to roll on and get the ball inside 50 quickly. So if they're going to actually get themselves into this game, he's going to have to play a huge role.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Phillips reaches up, taps it down to Stringer, trying to give it back to Phillips, lost it. Scott for the Roos, hand pass to Phillips, to Liam Shields, drives it inside 50, Larkey's there, Flyers can't hang on to the mark, it spills down the way of Scott, gets the hand pass away to Ford, pulls his kick towards Coleman Jones, he sets himself, got underneath it, Laverty with a little nudge, Taron Thomas taps it to his own advantage, centering kick towards Spicer, massive fly, Sammy Durham comes down with a crash, and Nick Hyde is worse for wear. He was the springboard. As Durham kicks out of defence and Guelphy marks at left half-back.
Guelphy just assesses what's before him. He'll kick laterally to Hind. Hind chips to McGrath inside the defensive 50. McGrath out to right half-back. Mark taken by Zirk Thatcher. Zirk Thatcher chips it over to McGrath, who's run on between right half-back and the wing here for Essendon. Lead by 13 points. McGrath has a short lead offered by Redmond, spots him up. Redmond wants to play on. Bites off a kick into the middle of the ground. Hobbs slides in and marks. Now completes the switch. Out to the dockside wing of the ground. Heppel takes it on the logo. Goes for a little run. Low ball looking for a leading target. And Guelphy marks. He started it all. Now wheels and kicks to full forward. Back there, Mackay. Good defensive mark for North. He marks at fullback and will send it out towards the city wing.
Yeah, the Kangaroos look to try and build from half-back. Zerha sends it out. Taron Thomas takes the mark and he's been booed for the first time. Must have missed him in the first quarter. Kick around the boundary line. Larkey's onto it, loses his opponent inside 50. Left forward pocket, steadies and can't finish. Misses to the left-hand side and through for a minor score. Bombers by 12 points. Did I miss something around Taron Thomas as to why they're booing him?
Little jeers
He's getting
in
too
the
much
opening term.
He's getting too much of the footy, so they're trying to put him off his game.
7 disposals for Taron Thomas in his first game of 2023.
Just his quarter, I mean. I'm not saying overall.
I think they just forgot.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there he is, actually. Where's Yaddy?
We've got a blood rule here for the Bombers, so a bit of a break. Bad miss there by Larky. He was close to the boundary line, but he got the ball outside 50, ran in, no one in front of him. He took one bounce, had time to settle. Okay, if you miss, but missing badly like that is not good. You at least want it to come off your foot nicely and give yourself a chance.
Hine plays on from the kick in, then waits a kick onto Redmond's chest. We now run around. Spicer on the mark. He'll kick into the backside of his captain in Zach Merritt. And it will ricochet out for Lamitus from Essendon.
He should have handballed it to him in the first place and then kicked it into his back.
He's getting that much of the footy over his back, so it's getting disposals.
Yeah.
17 for Zach Merritt, the Bombers captain, plus 2 goals. Only added a couple since quarter time. Kick inside 50 for the Kangaroos. Zerk Thatcher's underneath it, can't complete the mark. Redmond has it locked up from the kick from Harry Sheasel. Inside 50 and a ball up 45 metres out from the Kangaroos' goal.
I'm not sure they brought Liam Shields over to tag, but he's got the job on Merritt.
Maybe he's the one they know will stick to the task. Yeah. Wardlaw trying to charge his way clear. Tackled by Mason Redmond. Spills away a Menzie. He's taken across the boundary line and out of play. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
It was Jaden Laverty that was the reason for the stoppage when he had to come off with the blood rule. He's just got a gash on the top of his head, right smack bang in the middle that the doctor's patching up now.
Hard to tape that one up. Might have to go the old under the chin method.
Both rucks miss it. Comes out to Scott at the back. Squeezes a kick inside 50 for North. Redmond's handball errant. Larky to Spicer. Cruising by. Gives it off to Shields. Snaps towards goal. Zerha trying to shepherd it through. And getting back, Heppel. A goal-saving defensive effort. Knocks it through. A behind, so 11 points Essendon's lead.
As the Bombers through, Nick Martin goes short. And Hobbs takes the mark. Kicks it laterally boundary side. And Nick Hine has it left half back for the Bombers, leading by 11 points. 12 minutes gone second term. Just the one goal in this second term coming the way of North Melbourne through Coleman Jones.
North are doing so much better this quarter, primarily because they've just upped their defensive game. The Bombers are struggling to get it past halfway because, except for that one there, leading players lead to the ball, but their intensive defensive effort has gone through the roof.
Behind to Caldwell, back to Caldwell, sends it long towards Wiedering, had a big fly, Sam Wiedemann over the back of Griffin Logan, it's socked straight to the boundary line. Umpire says insufficient intent.
Who kicked it?
That's the biggest task, trying to work out whose boot it came off. I think it was Ben Hobbs.
Yeah.
And Aaron Hall will take the free kick, but everyone was kind of looking around as to whose boot it came off. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
So confirmation from North Melbourne that it's concussion is the reason that Jai Simpkins out of the game. Copped a knock to the right side from Sam Durham. Hurt his shoulder, but it's concussion keeping him out.
Ball long to the wing, and Coleman Jones, a nice contested mark. I did notice after that bump, Loz, that he just sort of rubbed his jaw. So, yeah, certainly some head contact as Coleman Jones goes to Hall, who kicks it out of bounds on the full. And Essendon will get it back.
That's what Coleman Jones gets for going backwards without even looking forward first. Look forward, and then if there's nothing on, then go backwards.
As Dylan Shields sends it towards half forward over the head of Wiedemann. Stringer taps it to his own advantage. Gathered by Will Snelling, and he's tackled and deemed holding the footy. George Wardlaw got him. And the young Roo takes the free kick at right half back. Sends it out towards Tucker. Hand pass high inboard to Miller Bergman, who gives it back to Tucker, trying to step around Shield, gives the hand pass away to Hall, back to Bergman. They run it around the Docks boundary line. Phillips now inboard to Tucker, has a bit more space, awkwardly kicks on his left towards Larky, in from the side Redmond. Providing good support to Zerk Thatcher, spoils it out of play in the right forward pocket for North Melbourne.
Looked like they got themselves in trouble there, but at least they ran in numbers. They kept attacking, and when one got in a little bit of strife, he had some support there, which is good.
Essendon by 11. Phillips to the front, knocks it down. Thomas then tackled by Phillips. Now Phillips picks it up, handball away to Hobbs. Handball to Heppel. Off to Perkins, around the boundary, snaps beyond defensive 50. Tucker drops it, which puts himself under pressure, wrapped up. Ball up
55 out from the north goal. Hobbs a little sore in back play. Phillips slaps it straight down to Perkins. Quickly on the boot. Kick to the wing. Logue a big spoil. Loose footy. Menzies onto it for Essendon. He'll kick out towards the City wing. Durham's able to get it. Handball away towards Redmond. And now Redmond evades a tackle.
Able to step around Scott. Opened up play out on the City side with a hand pass away to Snelling. Chips it forward to Nick Martin at right half forward. He's got big Sam Draper. He takes the mark. He got a shove from Ben Mackay. Bombers fans wanted 50. The umpire won't concede. Sam Draper out to the right will be kicking from right on 50.
Will take his absolute very best. I get nervous when he's 30 out directly in front, so if he knocks this one through, well, that'll do me today. That will do me.
I hope you don't just walk out, but Sam Draper from 60, he's going to poke into the top of the square. Phillips is there. Big fly, can't come down with a mark. Spills down the way of Langford, who knocks it out for the Bombers. Still a chance as Caldwell receives the hand pass from Menzies. Trying to slide after it is Snelling. He can't knock it clear. Sheasel slides in. Eventually Greenwood with the hand pass out to Tucker to McDonald. Fumble from Zeeble. Dylan Shields lays the tackle. Umpire says no prior opportunity. And a ball up 25 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Essendon by 11 points. 15 minutes gone, second term.
Up it goes. Goldstein knocks it down. Menzies swoops onto it. His kick straight up and down. Knocked away from the pack. Tucker will try and gather. Does. Runs to his defensive goal square. Then kicks long beyond defensive 50. Hine drops the mark. Spicer right there with him. Picks it up on the fly. Run down. Great chase. Durham got him. He just got a handball away, Spicer. Now Redmond picks it up on the logo. Sweeps a handball forward. Hine gathers. Kicks inside 50. Langford. He marks for Essendon deep in the right forward pocket.
Well, that ball was outside 50 for enough time for the North Melbourne defenders to reset and find their opponent before it came back in.
Langford chooses to just set it up towards Wiedemann. Hands to it, no mark. Wardlaw roves defensively for the Roos. Hits short for Stevenson, nearly drops it or does drop it in the end. Now a live footy at centre half forward.
Still a chance for the Bombers as Durham tried to charge his way through. He's brought down. Dylan Shield and Wardlaw over the top of the footy. The umpire will ball it up. 55 metres out from the Bombers' goal. They lead by 11 points. Jaden Laverty back on the field with the head bandaged. Tap came down the way of the Bombers, although Nick Martin couldn't get a disposal away. Greenwood's in there fighting hard. He can't burst clear, and the umpire will ball it up once more.
I hope the message goes out to young Phoenix Spice and says, buddy, keep backing yourself in. Take the game on.
Phillips rising high, knocking it towards Shield. Sheasel, though, steals it. Gives it off to Scott. Kick around the wing. High ball, bounces on its point, straight out of play. Throw in on the dockside wing. Essendon by 11 points, 17.5 into the second term on Grandstand AFL.
It's really 50-50 at the moment. I think North Melbourne have really picked up that, as was mentioned, the defensive intensity, and Essendon haven't had it all their own way.
Wardlaw gathers it off the tap. Away to Phillips. Kick smothered. Ricochets back to him. Now kicks north inside 50. Larkey gets around his defender, Zerk Thatcher, and marks on his chest. 25 out directly in front.
It wasn't probably by design, that one, Berkey. The smothered kick and then the quick hack mung forward. It just floated into the space where Larkey was moving to, didn't it? Be on the move as a forward. You did more often than not get on the end of him. Well read. Can he finish this one?
This will bring it back within a goal. Larkey celebrates the moment it leaves the boot. And North Melbourne are right in this match. He's got a couple. Essendon lead by 5 points. 6-3-39 plays North Melbourne. 5-4-34, 18.5 into the second.
It's just winning a clearance and getting the ball forward quickly. We design up all these plays of forwards leading here and other ones filling in behind and creating space, all that sort of stuff. But quite often it's just win a clearance, get it on the boot, get it one out inside forward 50, and hopefully that you've got a smart forward who reads the play a second before the defender and takes a nice chest mark.
For any young forward watching that, though, the amount of work that he was doing prior to it, he was on his bike, he was moving, he wasn't just standing there waiting for the ball to be sat on his head.
It's been a different game in the second quarter as far as North Melbourne's concerned. It was 17-8 the inside 50s Essendon's way in the opening quarter. 16-9 the clearances. The Roos with 11-5 inside 50s in this second quarter. A free kick shepherding in the ruck against Coleman, Jones and Draper. Has it. He was looking to feed off the hand pass around the back to Merritt. Has to drive it as long as he can in the direction of Stringer. It touches McDonald on the way through. Langford's hand pass away to Guelph. He sets up Stringer, kicks across the face of goal and misses to the right-hand side on a 45-degree angle. 25 metres out in the left forward pocket. They're the type of ones Jake Stringer normally eats for breakfast. Bombers by 6 points.
On track to win their second term of the year, North Melbourne, and could they lead at the break for the first time since round 4? Ball goes long out towards the wing, off hands, Heppel at the back for Essendon. Handball away to Redmond. Away back to Heppel, and then on to Laverty. He'll kick inside, attacking 50. Over the head of Zeeble. Out the back it goes, free kick. And the free kick for the push will go to McDonald. 1 goal, Essendon's advantage. Time on in the second.
Sends it out to Darcy Tucker, who takes the mark in the left back pocket. The former Fremantle Docker plays on at half-back. Sends it up the wing in the direction of Larkey. He's caught behind. And Laverty with the head bandage takes the intercepting mark. Essendon leading by 6 points. They did get out by as much as 20 points in the opening quarter on a couple of occasions. Sends it long inside 50. Phillips the marking target, can't take it. McDonald for North Melbourne. Hand pass away to Tucker, to Stevenson, up the wing. Wardlaw out position. And another mark from Jaden Laverty. So he does so well for the Bombers. Comes inboard to Hine, not 15, so retreats back by foot. And finds Ridley just short of centre-half back.
Ridley short to Heppel. He'll chip it over the top to Merritt. Former captain and the new captain combining. Handball to Ridley. Doms to the logo. McGrath gets around Spicer. Kicks infield to Merritt. Another disposal coming up for Zach Merritt. Wheels around and kicks inside, attacking 50. Looking there for Draper, the big man. From a standing start, he goes up and high points it. He marks 35 out, 45-degree angle.
It's just good to see Merritt. You can see the importance of him being involved in their passages of play going forward. We haven't signed him much. Shields really put the clamps on him, but he gets involved a couple of times in that bit of play. And lo and behold, they've got a shot on goal. So get Zach Merritt more involved, get more shots on goal.
Big Draper comes in and tugs it left. Runs away with the mullet flowing. 7 points, Essendon's lead.
As the Roos try and find an avenue out of defence. Sheasel to Zeeble, and now up to Luke McDonald, and now to Bailey Scott, a right half back for the Roos. Hugs the boundary line, dockside. Zeeble Zerha sets himself. Flyers can't take the mark. Thomas gives a hand pass to Zerha. Kicks towards half forward. Taking the mark was Powell, the sub into the action. Hand pass away to Scott, through the middle of the ground. Phillips links up with McDonald from the edge of the centre square. Goes long and all the way through. Some good shepherding on the goal line from Nick Larkey. And a long-range bomb from Luke McDonald. That gives something to the Bombers to build on. And Essendon's lead all of a sudden is just a point. 23 minutes gone, second quarter. North Melbourne with the only 3 goals so far this second term. They're 6-4-40 to the Bombers, 6-5-41.
Zerha up and involved, up around the stoppage. Nice left foot kick and good bravery from Tom Powell. But what I liked is he didn't waste time moving that ball on. Bailey Scott, we've sung his praises a couple of times today. Another handball inside. Luke McDonald, nothing better than jogging back to position as a half-back when you've just knocked one through, reminding your half-forward, where were you? Just ask that question. Good shepherding on the line from Nick Larkey as well.
That's very Brett Delidio. Running back to half-back. Where were you?
And shoulders pinned back like Mason Cox.
I love it. Goldstein wins the tap down, but Essendon come away with the footy. Merritt, handball away to Redmond. Driving kick towards half forward. Hobbs juggles the mark, doesn't complete it. Logue picks it up, tries to break a tackle. Handball gets chopped off. Now a live footy again, eventually picked up by Phillips. He's taken to ground in a tackle right on the attacking point of the square. North Melbourne trail by a point, 24 minutes into the second.
Thrown up, Goldstein and Draper spills down the way of Hobbs. He gets it on to Caldwell, kicks inside 50. Menzies couldn't take the mark. Guelphy could have been dragged down when he didn't have the footy. Hand pass comes out from Perkins to Stringer. The fend off on Phillips, kicks towards the goal mouth. Ben Mackay marks on his chest. Read it better than Andrew Phillips. He marks a couple of millimetres out from his defensive goal. Short to the right back pocket where Aaron Hall takes the mark. He can poke it over the top. And Bergman has it still inside the defensive 50 for the Roos.
So Bergman, I mentioned it earlier, Bergman dangerously short to Logue. Have not led at any break since round 4. It was half-time against Carlton back then. Logue long out towards Zurhar, over his head, out of bounds on the full. So Merritt to have the kick on the wing for Essendon. They lead by a point. Merritt will kick on his left, inside attacking 50. Big pack forms. Coming in from the side, Draper, hands to it. At the fall of the ball, Miller Bergman gets it off to Shields, who kicks towards the wing. Bringing it down, McGrath runs away with it for Essendon, kicks to full forward. North of there, Tucker, fat side winger, slides back and marks.
Sends it out to the left back pocket where Ben Mackay takes the mark. He can chip it further still. And Luke McDonald has it. Goal scorer in this second quarter so far. Wider still for Aaron Hall, who marks just inside the field of play. He's at left half back for the Kangaroos. Just 3 behinds for the Bombers in this second quarter, Lids, after North Melbourne have kicked 3-4. Felt like it was all one-way traffic in that opening term.
Certainly did. They've done well.
Kick towards Taron Thomas. It's over his head, though, and Laverty takes the intercepting mark from the Hall kick. Is North lifted, or are the Bombers?
Not sure about the Bombers' intensity this second quarter.
Kick towards Wademan in the pack, can't take the mark. Hobbs knocks it on. Guelphy tries to knock it inside 50 into the right forward pocket for Merritt. Just bumped off it, and Bergman gathers for the Roos. Hand pass to Logue. Ray Chamberlain's involved in the passage of play. Get out of the way, Ray. Hobbs picks it up, snaps on goal, and misses to the right hand side.
Razor.
He's in the right forward pocket boundary side and just took a few steps in, and all of a sudden found himself amongst the action.
He slipped on a banana skin out there.
He did.
The
old Mario Kart.
At least the shell didn't get him. Here goes. Ball with the kick in. Short to the pocket. Mark taken by McDonald. He'll wheel and kick long towards the wing. Right to the logo. Goldstein marks on the logo. He'll play on. He'll chip it short. Larkey's not looking. Snelling gets back, takes a defensive mark. And that should just about do it for this second half as he goes short to Caldwell. And Essendon will lead by 2 points at half-time on Grandstand AFL. North Melbourne kicked 3 goals to zip in that second term. Only the second time this season they've won the second term. The goal kickers, Larkey a couple, Scott McDonald, Coleman, Jones and Goldstein, while for Essendon, Langford and Merritt with a couple, Perkins and Martin with singles. A goalless term for Essendon.
You set it up beautifully, Benny. They'd only won one second quarter, North Melbourne, so far in 2023. Now made that 2 with a 3-goal-to-none second term, which closes the gap to just 2 points the Bombers' way. On ABC Sport, Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke with their thoughts to half-time.
Well, much better effort there by North Melbourne, and a lot of it came from just getting closer to their opponents and not allowing Essendon to have uncontested marks all the way up and down the field. And the amount of times that they were forced to just kick the ball long in that second quarter compared to the first was at least triple. And that was because they couldn't find an easy way through. So well done by whoever's coaching North Melbourne's defence, whether it's Ratton just getting into them and saying, hey guys, you've got to actually play on someone. Whatever they said at quarter time made a huge amount of difference in the clearance as well. I think they won the clearances that quarter 7-5. So got the ball going their way rather than having to start all of their attacks from in the back pocket, which makes a big difference, Lids.
Yeah, well, they also paid a fair bit of respect to Zach Merritt and didn't allow him just to roll around and do as he pleased. He only had the 6 that quarter after 16 in the first. Well done to Liam Shields for doing that. He's done that a lot of times for the Hawks. I'm not sure he thought that's what he was coming across to North to do. I think he's just going to play a role on the wing and offer his experience up. But when you get nutted that hard, I think you need to go back to your experience, and Brett Ratton's obviously done that before. But look, I think the key for the Bombers for this next half is to say, right, we think we're a better side, but we need to make sure that our intensity and effort is right there, and that's not being beaten, in and around the footy essentially to start with, and then being able to spread away from that. I just feel like the Roos got their contest game up and going. They were up in contested possession. They're winning the contested possession. Still down in clearance, but better that second quarter, as you mentioned, Berkey. And they got some better looks forward. Lucky, did he miss one that quarter? Two that quarter.
He missed one early.
One early.
Kicked one.
Kicked one.
So he's got 2 for the game.
Yeah.
And probably could have had he's got 2 next to his name, but he could have had sort of 3 or 4 that the marks he's had, he just hasn't been able to complete.
And that's the thing, he's getting good looks because of that stuff that we spoke about in that quarter. He's on the move, and the ball movement's been okay to get it in there. Great for McDonald, get a shot on goal from half back, love those. Now we just need to continue to finish our work, and hopefully we can get a nice close one. It's looking good so far, Berkey.
Yeah, and
so
I think
the Bombers, Berkey, go from their highest scoring first quarter of the year. They kick 6 goals, and then they don't kick a goal in the second quarter. So try and explain to us as listeners how that happens. We can be flying high in the first term, and then North Melbourne are able to wrestle back the momentum.
I think the Essendon players thought that I can fill my boots a little bit here, and when they've got a decision to make of, hey, I go and pick up that North Melbourne opponent, or do I sneak out here into a hole and get a free one and get the ball going forward because, hey, there's lots of possessions on offer here, they start to take that latter one. They start to just sneak out into a hole thinking, oh, how can I get the footy? And if North Melbourne are actually hard around the contest where the ball is, well, then it doesn't sneak out to those easy ones. And all of a sudden you can find yourself 3 goals to none in that quarter. So you go from chocolates to bald lollies just by taking your focus off what made you good in that first quarter.
Yeah, they weren't as hard to play against that quarter, Essendon were they? No. They didn't defend the ground overly well. It was a real slingshot type game. Goes in one side and straight out the other and goes the length of the ground. That happens a little bit here at Marvel, I find, but they've got to be better, Essendon, in terms of shutting that down if they want to win this game.
And that's part of the art of coaching, is not just moving players from one spot to another spot. That's overrated in coaching. That very rarely comes off when you make the big move from someone to centre back to full forward and they kick 5. That's not what coaching is about. Coaching is about anticipating, right, I know my group intimately, and potentially after a big 6-goal first quarter, they're going to just sort of start to go a little bit over-attacking, and so I'm going to address that at quarter time, make sure that doesn't happen, and then you don't get bitten in the backside like potentially Essendon were then.
First time this year, North have kept a side goalless in a quarter, and the Roos are the 18th best side for converting an inside 50 to a score. They've taken 5 marks inside 50 to the Bombers 12. They were able to kick 3 goals to none in that second quarter to have Essendon leading by just 2 points at the main break. 6-6-42 to North Melbourne, 6-4-40. Earlier today, it was the Tigers winners by 10 points over GWS, 16-14, 110 to the Giants, 15-14, 104. It was Marlon Prickett who kicked the winning goal at the 36-minute mark after the Giants booted 7 goals to 5 in the final term. Jack Riewoldt finished with 5 goals for the Tigers. On Grandstand AFL from Docklands in Melbourne, we're pausing at the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. An officer from China's People's Liberation Army has questioned Defence Minister Richard Marles at a security conference in Singapore about Australia's involvement in AUKUS and the Quad. After addressing the annual Shangri-La dialogue, Mr Marles was questioned from the audience by a PLA colonel who raised concerns about the expansion and intervention of military organisations like NATO. Mr Marles assured the gathering that AUKUS is not a new security alliance.
AUKUS is a technology transferring arrangement. It is not an alliance. It is, in the immediate term, through Pillar 1, a mechanism by which Australia can acquire a nuclear-powered submarine capability.
Current Hawthorn footballer and Indigenous man Chan Wingard says he hopes everyone involved in the ongoing issue of alleged mistreatment of First Nations players at the club can find healing. 6 First Nations people have lodged a complaint with the Australian Human Rights Commission against the AFL club, alleging they endured racism there. The former staffers involved have vehemently denied any wrongdoing. Wingard told AFL Grandstand it's been a tough time.
Yeah, like I said, no one's winning this situation, and hopefully that it can get resolved, and it's all about the healing. I think everyone wants to just heal and acknowledge what happened or what didn't happen and move on.
The Victorian opposition says new analysis by the state's independent budget watchdog is proof that Victorians are paying more tax than any other state. Based on the government's latest budget forecasts, the Independent Parliamentary Budget Office predicts net debt will increase to $171 billion in the next 3 years. In last month's state budget, the Andrews government announced new taxes on businesses, landlords and schools, as well as public sector job cuts in order to pay down its debt. Opposition leader John Pasuto says it puts Victorians in a precarious position.
Our budget settings under the Andrews government, with debt so high and taxes so high, leaves no room for Victoria to absorb any shocks, whether they're international shocks such as higher rates in interest rates or other economic shocks.
The Queensland Government will give nursing and midwifery students a $5,000 bonus for doing a placement in a regional area of the state. The budget promise, confirmed today, is expected to cost about $22 million a year. It aims to reduce the pressure on students who are struggling with the cost of living and to move more health professionals into regional areas. Police on the Gold Coast are investigating the assault of a woman who had her car stolen. Peter Quattrocelli reports.
Police say the 50-year-old woman was driving in Ashmore at around 4 o'clock this morning when an allegedly stolen car hit the back of her car. The other car then pursued the woman's vehicle before both stopped on Ainsley Avenue. 5 people exited the other vehicle and violently pulled the woman from behind the wheel of her own car. They then fled in the woman's white 2022 Toyota Corolla. The woman was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Police are keen to hear from anyone with relevant information.
Northern Territory Police say it's unlikely the bones found in bushland near Darwin are human. Officers earlier confirmed a team was sent to Holmes Jungle Nature Park overnight to investigate after a bushwalker located the bones nearby a picnic ground. In a statement this morning, a police spokesperson says a pathologist has since confirmed the remains are not human. The remains have been sent for further testing and the park is now reopened to the public. Air raid sirens have sounded in the Ukrainian capital Kyiv, with authorities warning residents to take shelter. Here's the BBC's Ian McWilliam.
Reports from Ukraine indicate that Kiev and other cities are once more under attack. Witnesses in the Kiev region say they've heard blasts, which could be air defense systems hitting incoming targets. The capital and other areas have come under fire from Russian missiles and drones almost daily in recent weeks, as Moscow tries to wear down the Ukrainian people and deplete their defences. In the city of Dnipro on Saturday, an explosion, possibly caused by a missile, destroyed a residential building. Video footage from the scene shows rescue workers digging through smouldering wreckage in the dark, searching for victims trapped in the rubble.
A group of astronauts from China's space station have returned to Earth after a 6-month-long mission in orbit. They handed over the controls to the third crew to serve aboard the Chinese space station. They then made a safe return, landing in Inner Mongolia. And in sport, the New South Wales Swifts have moved to the top of the Super Netball ladder with a 5-goal win over the Giants in Sydney. The Swifts led by 6 at half-time and went on to win 68-63. That brings you up to date with the latest ABC News.
I've been waiting for you. Please sit down. You've been blessed with many heirs and heiresses. In the future, I see your children entranced by the ABC Listen app, understanding the world with news time, laughing out loud to story salad, and being lulled to sleep with story time and lullabies. Your reading is complete. Keep your money. The ABC Listen app is as free as the wind. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
She'll will go inside attacking 50, and Coleman Jones coming in from the side. He marks over the top of Ridley and also Larkey. He comes in. It spins like a drop punt and goes straight through the middle. Wardlaw gathers it off the tap. Away to Phillips. Kick smothered. Ricochets back to him. Now kicks north inside 50. Larkey gets around his defender, Zerk Thatcher, and marks on his chest. 25 out directly in front. Larkey celebrates the moment it leaves the boot. And North Melbourne are right in this match.
Hand pass away to Scott through the middle of the ground. Phillips links up with McDonald from the edge of the centre square, goes long and all the way through.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at Docklands in Melbourne, the final match of round 12, and it's the Bombers leading by 2 points over North Melbourne, 6-6-42 to the Roos, 6-4-40. It was Essendon by 20 points at the first break, but 3 goals to none in that second quarter. Gave the Roos just their second victory in second quarters in 2023, and also holding aside goalless for the first time so far this season. 2 goals to Kyle Langford and to Zach Merritt for the Bombers. Meanwhile, 2 goals for Nick Larkey for the Kangaroos. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio are your experts on ABC Sport. As always, you can get in touch with us on the SMS 0437 774 774. One for you, Benny, from Paddy in Officer. Would that shot into the backside of Zach Merritt be classified as a defensive artist? So not bad work there. Ben Cameron's not listening, but that's right in his wheelhouse of comedy. So on the SMS 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch with us. Earlier today, it was Richmond winners by 10 points over GWS. The Giants were 7 goals to 5 in the final term. They had 24 to 12 inside 50s. But the Tigers prevailed 16-14, 110 to the Giants 15-14, 104. Jack Revolt with 5 goals. Toby Green with 3. Marlon Pickett the winner with 24 seconds remaining to deliver their first win under caretaker coach Andrew McWalter. Well, in the NRL today, in the match taking place between the Melbourne Storm and the North Queensland Cowboys, full time there, the Cowboys prevailing by 25 points, 45-20. And in the earlier match, it was the Sydney Roosters winners by 1 point, 25-24 in a thriller in the early match. One match still to come later on tonight. It's the Penrith Panthers taking on St George Illawarra. The A-League men's grand final last night, it was the Central Coast Mariners who had a thrashing over Melbourne City. City finishing on top of the table, 6-1 at Western Sydney Stadium. Jason Cummings scoring a hat-trick. Well, did you get up and watch the FA Cup this morning? Manchester City and Manchester United.
What's the FA Cup?
Soccer.
Oh, is it? Nah, obviously not.
That's a bit of a BJ answer.
Yeah.
Is the A-League grand final on tonight? I haven't heard anything about that.
Nah.
Cheerio to
exactly.
BJ if you're listening.
Yeah. I didn't know that was on until I watched the news this morning that the both of those were on.
2-1 to Manchester City at Wembley Stadium there over Man United. And in tennis, French Open taking place at the moment. Igor Swiatek is through to the 4th round, defeating China's Wang Xingyu, 6-love, 6-love. 21-year-old aiming for a 3rd French Open title and has won 4 of her 6 sets so far this week without dropping a set. And the 7-seed Ons Jabeur fought back from a set down to advance through to the 4th round as well. The big news was reigning Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina has pulled out of the Grand Slam after revealing she had been unwell, struggling with a fever and a headache. Meanwhile, in the rugby union this afternoon, the Western Force hopes of playing in the Super Rugby Pacific finals were ended by the ladder leading Chiefs, who won 43 points to 19 in Perth. That means both the New South Wales Waratahs and the Queensland Reds have sneaked into the quarterfinals, despite both suffering defeats. I think that was yesterday. So the quarterfinals, the Waratahs will face the Blues in Auckland, and the Reds face the daunting task of the challenging Chiefs in Hamilton. Following the cricket, Ben, England comfortably beat Ireland by 10 wickets. Of course, if you haven't been listening, winter is coming, and coverage for ABC Sport will be bringing you the World Test Championships. The final between Australia and India taking place on Wednesday, June 7th. Jim Maxwell doing a great promo there. There's a couple of ways you can listen. The best way is via the ABC Listen app, where you can hear all the AFL and the NRL. There's a dedicated red cricket button, so you can flick between the AFL and the cricket. ABC Sport Digital will have coverage in capital cities. That's when the AFL and the NRL are not on, and regional in some parts, except for Tasmania, will also get all 6 of the men's Test Ashes between Australia and England on your analogue radio. But for most of our listeners, the ABC Listen app is the best way to follow it, with the best voices in the game. Jonathan Agnew, Jim Maxwell, Alison Mitchell, Glenn McGrath's joining our team alongside Phil Tufnell, Michael Vaughan and Sir Alistair Cook.
And Ben Stokes overnight became the first captain in the history of Test cricket to neither bat nor bowl nor keep wicket in a Test win.
Really?
Yep. So he did nothing.
What's he batting at the moment? Is it
usually
4 or 5?
Yeah. They declared, I think, he must have been batting low though. I think they declared 4 down.
I think they were concerned he had a knee injury after taking a catch, so he didn't bat, as you said, didn't bowl. Ireland out for 362 after tea on day 3. Zach Crawley hitting the 12 runs required for victory for England. What do you make of the news that David Warner has announced that he intends to retire from Test cricket, not after the World Test Championship, not after the Ashes, not after against the West Indies,
but back here,
but after against the Pakistan series, the first of the 2 Test series in Australia.
I hope he's in form and doesn't fall back on with egg on his face there, and he's.
Is that to just get everyone off my back?
I think so.
You're going to say, when do I retire?
But the point, he's barely guaranteed a spot for the Ashes.
That's
He's just declared, look, I've got another.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he just got hit in the arm again as well, and that was the arm that he hurt in India and had a little hairline fracture. So he might not even play in this one. So he may not get to any of those.
No, set to open the batting in the World Test Championship final against India on Wednesday. 36 years of age, has played 103 Test matches, but
he's had a great career. Let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just a quick. Do we share our SMS with any other programs? Because they're talking about Hungarian bean soup and zucchini slice. Have I missed something?
Yeah. Sometimes we get them.
We were talking about that halfway through the first. Zucchini slice. It's really good, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. We just missed that.
We do sometimes get the digital programming on ABC Melbourne, as well as the sports messages coming through. So 0437 774 774. News coming through from the match review officer. Thanks to Aaron Bryans back in the studio. Jordan De Goey's been sent straight to the tribunal for his bump on Elijah Hewitt, careless, severe and high. And Liam Duggan has been handed a one-match ban for rough conduct on Taylor Adams. Straight to the tribunal for Geordie to make his case, which you would think means that we're starting at 3 matches.
Yeah. I get that it's a bump and he's probably going to get suspended, but there's been a little bit too much made about it, hasn't it? All the hype and, he should get a month, he'd get 2 months. Dom Sheed coming out and saying what he said.
I think Dom might have meant to have said weeks.
Yeah, well, he wants him out for 8 weeks. Then 2 months.
I think he misspoke.
1 or 2, yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe not.
You're a West Coast supporter. You're giving me out anyway.
No, I just wondered.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought it.
But even still, it's like that's a thug act. That's terrible. Well, he's been caught in a moment. He's got him high. I get that, but how many times I know we're not talking about yesteryear and whatever else, but how many times has that happened? The guy bounces up and he plays on, and away we go.
What I want to know is, as people who haven't been out there, Clinchy and I, a lot of other people, I've heard experts disagreeing about whether it's an instinctive thing and you don't mean to lay him out, or whether it is something that, look, he chose to bump, he knew what he was doing, and he made a conscious decision.
Yeah, exactly that. He chose to bump. He chose to do it really poorly, leaping off the ground and getting high, and you pay the price for that.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. Tom Sparrow on the lead, the Melbourne midfielder, who said it's split-second decisions, and when you slow it down frame by frame, it looks worse than what it is, but often it's just a wrong decision made at the wrong time.
And he's got him high. That's what happens. As soon as you get him high, you're in trouble.
Essendon leaders by 2 points over the Kangaroos. Into the second half we go with Ben Cameron.
The Roos taking it right up to the Dons. They bounce in the middle, favours Draper slightly, slaps it down with his left hand, string out to Merritt, kicks inside 50, coming up, Wiedemann unable to mark. Ball out the back, Miller Bergman there for North. Off to Zeeble, kick out towards the wing. Ford takes a nice mark. Eddie Ford.
He's led up pretty well, young fella. He's taken quite a few marks today, coming hard at the football, but that was a well-judged mark.
Kicks around the city wing, over the head of Thomas, and Larkey able to claim it. Still 2 kicks from home for North. Larkey doesn't like anything he sees infield, so will elect to kick into the pocket. Looking for a marker down there. Coleman Jones out the back. Zerha gets it on the boot, dribbles it through. North are in front. North Melbourne have hit the front. 7-4-46. They lead Essendon 6-6-42. Less than a minute into the third term on Grandstand AFL.
I love that. Zerk actually just probably ran under the footy a little bit, but he's trying to provide a fair bit of energy there, Cam Zerha. He's run through and really tried to lift his players, lift the supporters. Eddie Ford's come charging through as well, and he's like, yeah, what he said. It looked like he's started throwing a few barbs as well. Absolutely loved it. Love to be on the end of those ones when your team's been behind all day and you finally get them in front.
Zerk Thatcher, he left him. He came up to spoil the ball and had a fresh airy.
Costly,
completely swiped under the footy.
Lauren Borton on the boundary.
So North are in front, but they're down to 3 on the bench. Hugh Greenwood was concussed by Mason Redmond, so him and Jai Simpkin both out with concussion for the rest of the match.
Thanks, Lyles. Draper down to Merritt. Hand pass to half forward. Luke McDonald picks it up, sends it towards half forward. Larkey spores it down. Phillips tackled and brought down. Hand pass comes forward to Liam Shields. Kicks inside 50. Zerha cuts in front. Almost won it against Coleman Jones, trailing the full forward. Now Ridley with a clearing kick for the Bombers. Kicks out to Sammy Durham. He marks it right half back. Turns and comes inboard. Dyson Heppel marks. 60 out from his defensive goal. Around the dock swing. Sends it towards Draper. Had to wait underneath it a while. Ben Mackay spoils it down. Phillips for the ruse. Hand pass over his shoulder to Luke McDonald. Gives it back as he sends it long. Phillips towards half forward, and Stevenson takes the mark, despite Dyson Heppel closing late.
Stevenson goes into the pocket in the Larkey direction and he clunks it. Good hands. Strong grab. And he marks deep in the left forward pocket with Laverty right up his backside.
Well done by Stevenson. First of all, he read the ball early with 3 Essendon opponents around him and took the mark. And it was a really low, hard kick into Larkey, which didn't give the Essendon defender a chance to come over the top.
North Melbourne have kicked the last 4 goals of this game. This would make it the last 5. Larkey's drop punt narrow all of the way. Didn't really look like it. Their lead extended to 5 points.
Got the arms greased up too, Benny, which you'd be happy with.
Not many blokes drop punt from there these days. They tend to sort of swing around on the right and hook it back.
Mason Redmond brings the Bombers back into play, looking for Caldwell. Phillips worked him underneath. Siebel kicks inside 50. Larkey's the target once more. Redmond spoils it down. Taron Thomas can't take it cleanly. He becomes the tackler. Over the top of Andy McGrath, and a ball up in the left forward pocket for the Roos. All of a sudden, Essendon haven't kicked a goal since the 31-minute mark of the opening term. Held goalless in the second quarter. Goldstein down to Phillips, kicks towards the top of the goal square, trying to leave it through. Yes. Coleman Jones, great work on the goal line. Held Zach Thatcher at arm's length, and it bounces through for a goal to Will Phillips. Everyone kind of looking at the goal umpire and then to the field umpire, and the all clear is given, and the Roos have skipped out to an 11-point advantage. They've kicked the last 5 goals of the match. 8-5-53 to the Bombers, 6-6-42. 4 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Well, he's backed up last week. His performance, Will Phillips, I thought that was probably his best game last week. He didn't have a lot of kicks, but still found plenty of the footy. He's had the 14 already, and to add that little bit of forward craft, ability to win it in tight and finish. It was fortuitous bounce, don't get me wrong, but he's still got his hands on the footy, forward 50.
Mason Redmond was next to him at the stoppage, pointed at him and said, "Who's on this bloke?" Took 5 steps backwards, left him alone by himself, and he kicks a goal. Well, mate, you are.
Bounce back in the middle. North Melbourne in control of this match at the moment. Stringer picks it up from the stoppage. Loses it, trying to get his kick away, holding the ball. Free kick going to Shields. Gives it off to Hall, running by. Low ball inside 50 for the Roos. No one there. Laverty can't gather on the half volley. Goes back and gets it. Handball to Ridley. Handball to Heppel. Short kick. Caldwell marks. Still inside the defensive 50. He'll look to kick it out to Stringer. Just backward of the wing. City side of the ground. North Melbourne leading by 11 points. We've played 5.5 in the third term.
Jake Stringer tries to dance around Taron Thomas on the mark, kicks into the middle of the ground. Miss Redmond, Zerha takes the intercepting mark. Long tour, 1-on-1 inside 50. Coleman Jones and Zerk Thatcher punches it towards the teeth of goal. Laverty races back in front of Larkey. The reinforcements arrive for the Bombers. Jordan Ridley gathers in the right back pocket, swings onto his right-hand side, up towards Durham. Had to wait a long time. Tucker comes in from the side, and off hands it goes out of play. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Andy McGrath's hobbled off to the Essendon bench. He's got a problem with his left side in the rib area, so the doctor's checked him out and he's happy to let him go back on, but he is wincing in pain on the boundary.
From the throw-in, Draper works his way to the front. Ricochets off him. Trying to pick it up, though, is Powell, leaving it behind, and now Draper applying the tackle. Umpire holds his arms to his chest. Lid's just getting back to Larkey and the oil glistening beneath the lights. You would have been a big oil guy, wouldn't you?
Well, I learned it actually off Matt Clinch in the AFL Nines.
Jeez, that's a drive-by.
Hall gets a handball away. Sorry, Clinchy.
It spills to Tucker. And eventually the hand pass comes to Luke McDonald, away to Aaron Hall, kicks it long towards full forward, clears the hands of Coleman Jones. Hind tries to get a little tap onto it. Phoenix Spicer grabs it, hand pass to Taron Thomas, around the body, puts through the goal. North Melbourne with the last 6 goals of the match. And the reaction for Taron Thomas, playing his first game in 2023, as a large majority of his playing group come to celebrate with him. Right into the North Melbourne cheer squad at the left-hand side as we see it. The Roos by 17 points. Bombers got out by 20 points on a couple of occasions in the first quarter, but the Roos leading by 17 points at the 7-minute mark of the third term.
Some concerning signs here, Berkey. The Bombers can't get their hands on the footy, struggling to get it past halfway at the moment. It keeps going forward and kick a goal, come back to the centre and back forward it goes again. So well done to North. They've cleaned it up inside. Their ability to keep it, get it out of the centre, but then to keep it in their front half. Little Phoenix Spicer buzzing around down there. Great little handball to Taron Thomas and a nice finish.
Bounce back in the middle. North Melbourne, the last 6 goals. Goldstein following up. Gets a handball away to Wardlaw. Runs into his opponent. It's taken high. Free kick. Might be bleeding from the mouth here, Wardlaw. He'll kick laterally. Out to Miller Bergman. Outer edge of the square. Bergman looks long. Into the pocket towards Coleman Jones. Zerk Thatcher just works him under the ball. Takes the chest mark. Kicks short to Ridley at fullback. He'll go for a little run. Takes a couple of bounces. Thomas closing. He'll kick into the middle of the ground.
Sends it towards Langford and Logue. Logue spoils it down. Menzies front and centre. Hand pass to the run of Caldwell. Inside 50. Stringer and McDonald. Stringer slides. Can't take the mark. McDonald at ground level. Cannons into Snelling. Was he taken high? Umpire says no. He'll pull it up. 40 metres out from the Bombers' goal.
Well done by McDonald. He was out of position there. Had to run back, not give away a free kick, and waited till the cavalry arrived and called the ball up.
Outnumbered 2-on-1 as Goldstein wins it down to Wardlaw. We'll see that a bit over the future years, North fans will hope.
That was good too. He just didn't panic. He balked around one player and found a target.
Just has the black boots, and you see the flashing shot of him out of a stoppage as the Roos work it through forward, and out wider still to Tucker, who's going to come inboard to Miller Bergman.
Bergman happy to just look around, looks back inside the defensive 50, doesn't like anything there, so he'll look long around the city wing towards the contest. Goldstein off his hands. Coleman Jones rows, snaps, kicks out of bounds on the full. Essendon to get it back. Zerk Thatcher with the free kick.
Bombers are lucky there because Larkey had snuck out the back of that pack. If that ball stays in play, he potentially marks that inside 50.
Zerk Thatcher's kick, good for Redmond. Chips into the centre square. Mark taken by Merritt. Merritt a little unsure. Waits a kick over the top for Caldwell. He'll mark attacking edge of the square for the Dons. Now goes short. Mark taken at centre half forward by Martin, who hits a leading target right onto the chest of Archie Perkins. And he will go back from directly in front. Mark set 45 metres out.
It was pinpoint all the way through, wasn't it? And as I said before, that when Zach Merritt's involved in their passages of play, more often than not something good comes of it. Well-weighted ball to Caldwell, little chipper inside to Martin. And then Archie Perkins doing what he does best, leading up at the footy.
They need this to stem the bleeding Essendon. Perkins comes in and puts it through. Golden Archie for Essendon. Boy, did they need that. Back to 11 points. Their first goal since the opening term. North Melbourne 9-5-59. Lead Essendon 7-6-48. A couple for Archie Perkins.
It staggers me that that type of play doesn't occur more often when you've got a player just streaming at the kicker. The kick only went just 15 metres, but as a defender, it's virtually impossible to stop. The ball's down low. The players running full pelt, you can't get your arm into spoil, just streaming as hard as you can at the bloke with the football, and if you could get really good at hitting those kicks, you just get that extra 15 metres that you need to be able to have a shot and put it through, which is what the Bombers did then.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. The Roos have kicked 6 consecutive goals before that. Archie Perkins second. Back in the middle, Phillips wins down the tap against Goldstein. Little toe poke for the Roos, works to Phillips. Wardlaw blind turn, couldn't get around. Great tackle, Hobbs. Wins a free kick for holding the footy. As Hobbs looks out to the dock side, Guelphy has space. He marks centre of the AFL logo. Hand pass to the run of Hine, inside 50. Langford on the lead. Logue spoils it away. Langford slaps it back into play, but he was across the boundary line. And a throw in just in front of the 50-metre arc. North Melbourne leading by 11 points, 9-5-59 to the Bombers, 7-6-48.
Well done by Logue then. That's what he wasn't doing in that first quarter especially, right up the backside of his opponent.
Feels like Essendon might have sensed the seriousness of this match. Hall receives the handball there from Scott, snaps around the corner and Shields marks. Of course, a Shields and a Shield out there today. It's Shields for North, who kicks short to McDonald. He'll kick forward of the logo. Coleman Jones goes up. McGrath can't quite gather it, does second time. Handball for Essendon away towards Shield, who gives it off to Heppel. He'll kick into the middle of the ground. Langford takes it.
Thought about the hand pass over the top and then realises he has a player all on his own. Leading out, Sam Wiedemann marks. 50 out from home. Out to the left, he looks into the pocket. Stringer the target, he takes the mark. Not sure what Luke McDonald was thinking. He just gave Stringer a couple of metres. There's no chance of closing the gap.
Just a classic case of a defender thinking, I'm going to intercept this before he actually thinks about, is my player in line to get the footy? And just a really bad decision there from McDonald.
He's kicked a goal in each of his last 3 games, Jake Stringer. Just the 9 disposals and a behind so far. Swings out onto the right-hand side from 40 metres out. Jake Stringer makes it 2 in quick succession. Well, the Bombers close the gap to 5 points North Melbourne's way. 9-5-59 to Essendon, 8-6-54. 13 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, there were so many options there, wasn't there, that I think Luke McDonald was just trying to hedge his bets a little bit. Wasn't really sure which way to go, but you've got to go to your opponent or the most dangerous. And in that particular instance, it was Jake Stringer. I think Griffin Logue might have been giving him a few choice words as he was on the mark. He stared him down, posted, gave him a big smile. Good finish from Jake Stringer, 30 out, close to the boundary. Just let him know, a couple of smiles back, which is good to see. A bit of sportsmanship, I like that.
Kicked 17 goals in his last 5 games against North. Jake Stringer likes playing against the Roos, and they've come back at them. Here Essendon, Coleman Jones gets it off Draper's tap. High ball for North to half forward. Thomas underneath it, Ridley coming through. Gathers for the Dons, handball to Hine. Away to Shield. Handball forward to Hobbs on the wing. Sidesteps a couple. Now chips into the middle. Heppel marks. Essendon are going. Here's Hine sprinting through the middle. Kicks towards full forward. Langford doesn't mark. Logue paddles to the boundary. Gathers. Handball to Tucker. Right there with him. Doing a good job, Guelphy. Knocks it to Langford. To Durham. Now it's won there by Snelling. Handball out to Guelphy. Guelphy runs in. Snaps it home. Don's back in front. Wonderfully worked. Class finish from Guelphy. Essendon out by a point. 9-6-60 plays 9-5-59.
Well, you wonder why teams do constant handball drills, handball training, in close combat sort of stuff. It's for these exact reasons. Being able to withstand the pressure, but then get your hands free, be able to flick it on to your teammate in an instinct. It's just become bang, out. Langford, quick one. Durham, quick one. Snelling, his ability while he's getting his head ripped off, gets it off to Guelphy, and then a great finish. Running right foot towards the boundary, little banana to finish, the Prince of Perth. He loves it, that's what he calls himself from all reports.
Ben Cousins was the original Prince of Perth.
Well, he's taken the mantle from what he's told a few of the boys down there at Essendon.
Self-anointed nickname.
Where do you rank on that list, Benny?
Fair way down, I would have thought, Berkey.
Coleman wins down the tap to Phillips, gets the hand pass to Taron Thomas, kicks to Stevenson. At centre half forward, sends it inside 50 over the head of Larkey. Zerk Thatcher sliding in, didn't keep his feet. Zerhaus onto it, hand pass to Scott. Flying shot from the right forward pocket, misses. The Bombers with 3 goals in 5 minutes and scores a level at 9-6-60 apiece, courtesy of that behind from Bailey Scott.
50-metre penalty as well. We're on watch here too. We want North Melbourne to be leading at a break.
Your head nearly spun off too when I said that, Benny. I've never seen you spin around so quick. You didn't like it, obviously.
Hind kicks, Essendon into the middle. Draper marks. And the big man thumps it long. It's a full forward for Essendon. Big pack forms. Zeeble roves the pack, gets it on his right boot. Off the side of it. Outside defensive 50, but bouncing towards the boundary line. Scott sees it out. Throw in 60 around from the attacking goal. Here for the Dons. 17 minutes played in the third. Scores level. 9-6-60 each of two.
Jai Simpkin already subbed out of the match with concussion. Down with Hugh Greenwood off as well, so just 3 on the bench for the Roos. Nick Martin squeezes a kick forward to Hobbs. Hand pass to Caldwell. Long towards Langford. Works Siebel underneath the footy and takes the mark. Directly in front, 15 metres out from goal.
The last 7 minutes or so, all the loose balls tend to be won by Essendon. Whereas in that second quarter, North Melbourne were winning all of those and getting the ball forward. It's just that the Bombers seem to have upped their intensity around the footy. They're getting more numbers to those sort of clearances and getting the ball going their way.
Carl Langford looking to put the Bombers back in front. Comes in, puts it through for his third. Goal umpire had to scamper a fair way to the right. And goal 100 in his career for Carl Langford in game 119. All of a sudden he's becoming a regular forward in Brad Scott's lineup. Bombers by 6 points. 10-6-66 to North Melbourne. 9-6-60 with Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio on ABC Sport.
Yeah, for all Jack Zeebel's good work that he does down the half-back, he gets caught in those positions deep a lot, doesn't he? Like he's a thickly set bloke down there, so his ability to hold his ground is quite good, but he gets done in a lot of those 1v1 contests. I'd be encouraging him, get up to the back of the stoppage a lot more, be able to use your kick and your run, versus getting stuck wrestling a guy that's 192-3. Showed his ability to catch it in a 1v1 contest.
Yeah, that third versatile, tallish defender is something that North Melbourne would love to have. Just don't have at the moment.
Essendon with 4 goals in 7 minutes to turn a 17-point deficit into a 6-point lead. Caldwell, forward handball to Draper from the restart. He fumbles it, allows in the Roos. Caldwell goes and retrieves it. And then he's piled on. A ball up. Still inside the centre square. Just edging towards half forward for Essendon. Draper and Goldstein. Draper swats it down. Scott can't pick it up. Now a live footy. Guelphy. Self-appointed Prince of Perth applying the tackle. And a ball up at centre half forward. Essendon by 6 points.
Thrown up in the air, Goldstein and Draper spills down the way of Caldwell, sends the Bombers deep into attack over the head of Phillips and Mackay. Trickles to the back, Lowe races after it. It rolls out across the boundary line up against the right behind post in front of he and Kyle Langford for a boundary throw in. That third medium-sized defender couldn't be Aidan Call, could it? The recruit who signed till 2025. He's an emergency this afternoon.
It should be.
Not seen as part of their best side at the moment. Phillips down to Stringer. Snaps on his left and misses to the left-hand side. All of a sudden the Bombers have hit the last 4 goals in the match. They lead by 7 points.
I reckon that's his best role when he's allowed to play as that third tall, not having to play as a key. He's a little bit undersized as a key. Perfect role for him.
Sheasel with the kick in. Driving ball, long out to the wing. Larkey crashing the pack. Ball spills out. Picked up there by Scott for North. Handball away to Spicer. Spicer forward of the logo. Handball to himself. He gathers it as it goes out of play. And we'll get a throw in. The old KB. Handball to yourself.
Love that. That's backyard play.
Yeah.
That.
Is that 2 stats?
Hope so.
Do you know, it counts as your distance for running with the ball if you do handball yourself and catch it. So you can run 15 metres too far by handballing to yourself.
Now he's applying a big tackle here, Spicer. Essendon win the footy. Martin swings a handball away to Hind. He'll kick. Looking for a running target. Hobbs, who stops. Big bump from Mackay. Now Mackay gets the footy from Thomas. Handball away to Sheasel. North with it. Turns it over.
Nick Martin, hand pass to Guelphy. The Bombers are away. Hand pass to Hobbs. Inboard missed. Dylan Shield. And it's taken by Hall of North Melbourne. To Phillips. Back to Hall. It's slingshot footy at the moment. Long towards Larkey. He's against 2. Ridley. flies from behind and takes the mark. So just couldn't drag him away, and it became a 2-on-1. A great mark from Jordan Ridley. Out to McGrath, misses Draper, it trickles out in front of him. Powell gathers, the sub spins out of traffic, takes the bounce, wants to hand pass inboard. Sent Liam Shields a task, hand pass to Tucker, 45, runs to 40, steadies and kicks a big goal. Back to a 1-point ball game. And the former Docker with a big pump of the fist as he turns to the North Melbourne cheer squad. Underneath the shin Boina banner. And the Roos respond after the Bombers have kicked the last 4 goals of the match. It's a 1-point ball game. Essendon 10-7-67 to North Melbourne 10-6-60. 22 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
A lot of credit there to Tom Powell. He had Sam Draper coming one way, but he actually just went head on with Big Sam, but managed to realise, I've actually got to the ball first, but picked it up really cleanly and sent the ball back going their way and had no one to kick to, so he just did the old 1-2 and really good steadying finish there from North Melbourne. But when you've got Draper coming one way and you're coming the other way, you really need to
one bloke
go
wanted
hard.
it, one didn't, I reckon, Berkey. 4 goals apiece in the third term. Thomas onto the footy. Back in the middle and quickly tackled by Phillips. Essendon by 1 point. Umpire puts it up. Phillips knocks it down. Shield wrenched off his kick. Now socket forward for North. Phillips picks it up. Handball away to Shields. Handball out in front of Scott. He can run onto it. He's corralled. Steps his man. Now we'll kick inside 50. Low ball towards Spicer. Over his head it goes. Larkey at the back. Handball away to Zurha. Zurha. Check side. Misses. Scores level. 10-7-67 apiece. 23 and a half minutes into the third.
With the banana there, I'd like him to think his way through that a little bit better. Just open up the angle a little bit, come back on the left.
Jordan Ridley looks to bring the Bombers back into play. Long kick towards Phillips, who rises in front. Had a big piece of it. Not paid the mark. It comes to ground level. And Luke McDonald lays the tackle. And the ball stuck underneath Matt Guelphy. Bombers going with the 2 rucks with Phillips and Draper. Up against Goldstein and Coleman Jones, who's giving him a rest from time to time. Goldstein does his own roving, kicks inside 50. Coleman Jones behind, wanted against Ridley. Hand pass to Stevenson, runs the boundary. Here goes the dribbler and can't quite finish. It cannons into the right goalpost. And a minor score, enough to give the Roos the lead by a point. 10-8-68 to Essendon 10-7-67.
McGrath just runs out of the square, takes a bounce, kicks as long as he can towards a contest. Siebel goes up, spoils. Durham roving for Essendon. Handball forward, Guelphy gathers on the bounce. Oh, he's brought down there by McDonald. Loose footy, Hall comes through for North. Wants to retreat, his kick looking for Logue, just gets there. Sliding in Draper. Might have hurt Logue or himself. Both okay, they'll get to their feet. Logue with it. At left half back. North by a point. 25 minutes into the third term.
It's the hand pass to Jack Siebel. The former skipper veers out to the right and sends it as long as he can to the wing. Looking for Coleman Jones or Goldstein. Goldstein flies from behind, but it's Phillips who's onto it for the Bombers. Hand pass to Laverty. Underground hand pass to Caldwell. Dribbles a kick towards the 50. Running onto it, Logue. Bounces away from Draper. Sends it long back up the wing. Coleman Jones outnumbered and Ridley flies from behind. Takes the intercepting mark for the Bombers.
It's been good, Ridley. Really good. Ridley short. Laverty coming up. How about a mark? Laverty short to McGrath. McGrath on the logo. North by a point. Essendon long kick inside 50. Wiedemann runs underneath the football. Doesn't take the mark. Now a live ball. Shoveling out the handball. Comes to Caldwell from Durham. Kicks towards full forward. On the last line, North. Mackay gathers. Gives it off to Ford, who chips it short. Gives it a bit of hang time. But it finds Sheasel. Sheasel at fullback. North leading by a point.
Possession number 13 for Harry Sheasel, the young Roo, who goes short to Ben Mackay. Works it up to Eddie Ford, who has it at right half back for the Kangaroos. Zach Merritt leads the way with 27. Jordan Ridley with 18. 22 for Aaron Hall for the Roos. And 19 for Darcy Tucker. A free kick off the ball. Now it's against Nick Larkey. And Zerk Thatcher is grabbing at the back of his head, so you can only assume there was something off the ball. And Wiedemann takes the free kick up against the boundary. Comes inboard to Menzie. Takes it on a slightly better angle, shooting from around 35, 40 metres out.
Try and have a bit of a look on the screens to see whether we can see what Nick Larkey actually did. Disappointing that when you've got the ball about to exit your defensive 50, something 60 metres away, gives it away, turns it back over, gives him a shot on goal.
Jai Menzie, the Tasmanian through the sample out to the left. He's been a regular goal scorer, and he is right now. His first of the afternoon, which gives the Bombers a 5-point lead. The third lead change of the match. In fact, the fourth lead change of the match has the Bombers in front by 5 points. 11-7, 73 to North Melbourne, 10-8, 68. And Jai Menzie, the 20-year-old, up to 13 goals for the season in just his 13th match of AFL footy.
We're trying to get a view here of... It was
swinging arm, really. Really trying to get away from him.
I saw him gesticulating to the umpires afterwards that he felt like he was getting whacked in the back by Zerk Thatcher, and then turned around to shrug him off and
accidentally got him high. That's what happens. Same as you accidentally bump.
It's always the retaliator lids, isn't it?
Pay the price.
Menzie, 2 goals in each of his last 2 games and a goal in each of his last 6 now, so further proof they're out there if you look for them. Essendon by 5. Secondary bounce in the middle. Tap down to Shields, who gives it back to Goldstein. Goldstein, long kick inside 50. Larkey underneath the footy. Zerk Thatcher's there. Handball to Heppel. Handball just gets to Laverty. Now on to Redmond. Redmond's kick towards the wing. McDonald swirls it down, follows up. He's tackled over. And a throw in on the City wing. Essendon by 5 points. 29 minutes played in the third term. Grandstand AFL, Brett Delidio, Nathan Burke, your experts. Matt Clinch and myself, Ben Cameron, calling the action.
Earlier today, Richmond winners by a goal. Bombers leading by 5 points here. Thrown back in. Goldstein wins down the tap against Phillips. Straight to Sheasel. High kick towards half forward. Zerha's underneath. Larkey there as well. It spills to the back. Mason Redmond for the Bombers. Switches it all the way back to the back pocket where Brennan Zerk Thatcher takes the mark. But he has it just 10 metres out from his defensive goal. Approaching three-quarter time. Kicks towards Caldwell. He marks in front of Zeeble, just in front of the defensive paint of 50. Looking for options across half-back. Sends it long towards Wiedemann. Wrestling with Luke McDonald. Ben Mackay gets a fist onto it. Sheasel gets the hand pass to Wardlaw. The young Roos combine. Inboard to Bailey Scott. He takes the mark on his chest in front of the centre circles.
In the bullseye. He'll run around and drive it long into the pocket in the direction of Larkey. Can only swat it down in the end. Onto it, Coleman Jones. Look away, handball straight to Martin for Essendon. He'll kick out towards the wing and spot up Heppel. Heppel stops, comes infield to Merritt. Defensive point of the square for Merritt. Merritt kicks to the logo. Mark taken there by Perkins, who will chip it over the top. Into the path of Snelling, runs straight into Loeb. Shovels out a handball. Hines able to pick it up on the wing. He'll kick Essendon inside 50. In the Langford direction. Oh, drops the mark he should have taken. Stringer's there to mop up. Handball to Phillips. The big man selling the candy. Hits the wrong side of the ball. It's away towards full forward. Martin juggles and Martin marks.
Great pass.
Phillips was 30 out, left forward pocket. Tried to snap it on goal. Hit the wrong side. It bent away from goal. And landed in the lap of Martin, who fisted it at first, and it came back down in his lap.
He couldn't believe how much the season parted there. He's like, you've all bought that bit of candy. Look at this. Oh, man, I've hit the wrong side of the ball.
Rush of blood. Thought he was a small forward.
To unwrap the gift. But it's right before him. Martin comes in and puts Essendon out by 11. 12-7-79, plays 10-8-68. He's got a couple right on the three-quarter time siren. It's not too far away. Brett Delidio, Nathan Burke.
That's why I don't put a lot of faith in stats, because he's probably going to get an effective kick for that one.
Yeah, and a goal assist.
Yeah, exactly. One of the issues for North Melbourne...
Rats has kicked the chair. He's filthy with that too.
Yeah, that's 2 goals they probably shouldn't have given away late in this quarter, and that's why they're 2 goals behind. But I want to see the North Melbourne small forwards be a little bit more dangerous when the ball hits the ground up there. The Essendon defenders just running it out a little bit too easily. They don't look dangerous when it hits the ground, so keep it a little bit closer. Larky and these guys are never going to get outmarked. So do some more work closer to goal, get yourself back into this game.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Phillips with a hand pass to Caldwell, who's going backwards. He's tackled and locked up. Cam Zerha lays the tackle with support from Liam Shields. Just a shot on the big screen of Brett Ratton watching that last shot on goal. Kick the chair as he makes his way down for the three-quarter time address. Caldwell wins it from the stoppage. Kicks down the middle of the ground. Menzies takes the mark. There might be time for one more. Inside 50, Langford one-on-one with Logue. Logue juggles the mark. Right on the siren of three-quarter time. The Bombers leading by 11 points, 12-7-79 to North Melbourne at 10-8-68. An interesting term in which North Melbourne kicked the first 3 goals of the quarter. Then the Bombers kicked the next 4. And then in the end they finished with 6 of the last 7 goals of the quarter the way of Essendon to boot. 5-1 to North Melbourne's 4-4, which has the Bombers in front by 11 points at three-quarter time. For the Bombers, 2 goals to Langford, Merritt, Perkins and Nick Martin, individuals to Stringer and Aguelfi. Meanwhile for North Melbourne, 2 goals to Nick Larkey, individuals to Scott, McDonald, Tucker, Goldstein and Thomas. Jai Simpkin was subbed out of the match with concussion, meaning that Tom Powell came into the match. Unfortunately, Hugh Greenwood also out with a head knock at half-time and hasn't returned, so the Roos down to 3 on the bench, and Massimo D'Ambrosio is still the medical sub, or the substitution for the Bombers, still yet to be used with a quarter to go. Earlier today, the Tigers winners by a goal over GWS. It was Marlon Pickett who kicked the winner for the Tigers at the 36-minute mark of the final term, after Kieran Briggs had put the Giants in front late in the last term. The Giants booting 7-5 in the final term. Great day for your company on Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The brilliant minds from the Nation Building Authority are back.
I have complete faith in the NBA.
It's got to be something that's shovel-ready. And there's a lot to unpack.
What?
What does that even mean? What does anything mean?
With Rob Sitch, Kitty Flanagan, Celia Paquola and the whole office.
It's a smart idea. It's not a bad idea.
That could be illegal.
All new shovel-ready Utopia.
There you go.
Premieres 8 p.m. Wednesday, June 7 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Larky doesn't like anything he sees infield, so will elect to kick into the pocket. Looking for a marker down there. Coleman Jones out the back. Zerha gets it on the boot, dribbles it through. North are in front.
Clears the hands of Coleman Jones. Hind tries to get a little tap onto it. Phoenix Spicer grabs it. Half bust to Taron Thomas. Around the body, puts through the goal. North Melbourne with the last 6 goals of the match.
Handball to Tucker, right there with him, doing a good job. Guelphy knocks it to Langford, to Durham. Now it's won there by Snelling. Handball out to Guelphy. Guelphy runs in, snaps it home. Don's back in front.
Powell gathers, the sub spins out of traffic, takes a bounce, wants to hand pass inboard, set Liam Shields a task, hand pass to Tucker, 45, runs to 40, steadies and kicks a big goal. Back to a 1-point ball game.
Handball to Phillips, the big man selling the candy. It's the wrong side of the ball. It's away towards full forward. Martin juggles and Martin marks.
Great pass.
Martin comes in and puts Essendon out by 11.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Three-quarter time at Docklands in Melbourne. It's the Bombers leading by 11 points, 12-7-79 to North Melbourne 10-8-68. The laugh you can hear is from Brett Delidio and Ben Cameron with the three-quarter time entertainment where you run against the electronic signage.
They're running against the real man in the morph
I didn't
suit.
see him in the... Yeah, right, okay.
Morph suit.
Yeah.
She got
mowed down.
She missed it by half a metre. A good effort.
Matt Glitch, Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden on the boundary. Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke with you. Just to repeat those goal kickers, 3 to Langford, 2 to Merritt, 2 to Perkins, 2 to Martin. While for the Kangaroos, 2 goals to Nick Lardy.
Lids was laughing just because he wants us to mention that he was a grand final halftime sprint winner.
I didn't actually, but
you didn't?
Now that you bring it up, it was a good run. Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
Sorry. No, mate, not interested in talking about that. We can talk about this game, though, and it's actually really close, which is fantastic. As North Melbourne came back and played some decent footy in that quarter, got some goals on the board and reward for effort, but just let themselves slip a little bit as we saw poor old Rats's chair cop it late in the game with a bit of magic from big Andy Phillips. His ability to part the season and then kick a banana the wrong way. Nick Martin doing his best work off the wing. Love that. But they need to come out and fight, get the first one here, North. I reckon they're a real chance they get some spirit into their game and really get on the back of that, get their supporters involved. And really take it up to the Bombers because they're not playing their best footy, Berkey, at the moment, the Bombers.
No, they're not. And it's when North Melbourne win those ground balls. So when the ball spills from a mark, North Melbourne, for the second and the first half of that third quarter, they were the ones getting the extra numbers there. They were the ones getting their hands on it and then using their hands to get it out to repeat entries inside forward 50. That's when they looked dangerous. But when the Bombers started to win that area of the ground, they were getting the ball running through the middle and getting into an open forward line, and they always look dangerous when they get the ball into an open forward line. So for me, it's that area, being able to win that ground ball contest when the ball hits the deck, getting the extra numbers there, working harder than your opponents, get the inside covered, get the outside covered. That will be the difference in this game.
On the SMS, Sam from Melbourne, hi team. Brett Ratton doing a great job, a great choice for standing coach. North making a dent in today's a good game to see. And also John on the spreader. Corbin, wouldn't DeGoey's past performances attract a bit of attacks on the present charge? They scratch that out.
Yeah, no.
The carry on, especially when it goes straight to the tribunal.
There's no official loading now anymore.
And a cheerio to Corby, who's got a day off today. Bombers by 11 points. Opening clearance the way of North, straight out of the middle. Laverde leading out Larky to the footy. Zerha with speed, won it for the Roos. Kicks it inside 50 towards Coleman Jones or Stevenson. Stevenson slides in down low, can't take the mark. Zerk Thatcher picks it up. Hand pass to Hines, kicks it out to Redmond, who juggles the mark at left half back.
Redmond gathers the ball, chips it short. Caldwell over to mark. Caldwell short into the middle of the ground. Martin will kick to Hobbs. Marks on his chest. Kicks long for the Dons towards Langford. Spoilt by Logue. Mackay able to run onto the footy in the back pocket for North. Handball to Logue. Just gets the handball away to McDonald. Handball back to Tucker. Back to Zeeble. Zeeble will kick just backward of the wing for North. Larky coming at the footy. Doesn't take the mark. Now it spills out. Spicer bends over and picks it up. Tackled by Hind. And held up. A ball up forward of the wing. Griffin Logue a little sore in back play initially.
Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Essendon have made their sub with Dylan Shield coming off. He's got ice on his left ankle. He was coming back from that injury. Also copped a knock to the face. So that means Massimo D'Ambrosio's on for the Bombers.
Thanks, Loz. Taron Thomas for the Roos from half back. Sends it to half forward. Larky gets rid of Laverde. He's off and running. Gets to 50. Looks for Zerha in the pocket. Can't find him with Ridley there. Tries to run onto it and keep it in play. Fends off the tackler. Zerk Thatcher. Pinballs off a couple of players. I'm not sure he got a hand pass away. So it'd have to be close to holding the ball, or hang on.
No, trip.
Was it a trip?
Oh, Ray's come in from nowhere and played a trip.
So Cam Zerhart's going to end up with a shot on goal up against the left goal post. All options were possible there. Don't think he got a hand pass away. Got tripped, ran a long way. Now he just needs to execute to try and make it a single-digit ball game. Cam Zerha for his second, steps out, snaps it through, and the Roos have the opening goal of the final term. Through 2 minutes at Docklands. Zerha with his second. 11-8-74, trailing the Bombers 12-7-79 on ABC Sport. You with Brett Delidio and Nathan Byrne.
Well, he hasn't had the big day stats-wise, Cam Zurhaar, but something happens around him when he attacks the footy. He just runs straight. We saw him very early in the piece this last quarter, ran through 2 or 3 Essendon defenders, kicked the inside. Jaden Stevens just couldn't quite hold the mark, but made the play, got out the back on that one, kept it just inside. I thought it was a pretty good attempt from Zerk Thatcher to hold on. Ray's come from 60 metres away and decided that was a leg. Bit stiff, Brendan Zerk Thatcher, but good for the game.
They've just hung around all day, North.
It probably was there by the letter of the law, wasn't it? The tackle slipped down.
Goldstein knocks it down to himself, gives it off to Phillips, looking for a leading target. Larkey on the bounce, paddles to himself, then gathers it. He's tackled by Laverty. Umpire Razor Ray, arms to his chest, ball up. 35 out from the attacking goal for North.
I like what Brett Ratton's done. He's got Sheasel and Stevenson in the forward line just to give him a bit of that ground presence that they've lost in that third quarter.
Merritt with the clear and kick beyond offensive 50. Guelphy traps it, sweeps a handball to Stringer, corralled by Thomas, retreats with the kick back to Merritt at left half back.
Possession number 30 coming up. Had him for 40 given he had 22 in the opening quarter. And a couple of goals, sends it long towards a big fly from Sammy Duran. It clears him, he couldn't come down with it. Guelphy slides in. McDonald tries to wrestle the footy away from him. Stringer tries to emerge, shovels a hand pass forward. Zeebel's able to ride the back of Menzies, but off balance as he kicks it out on the full. Much to the delight of the Bombers fans on the Dock side. And real concern here for Jai Menzies as the doctor is coming rushing out. He is lying down on the turf and hasn't moved.
Now, when Zeeble jumped up to take that intercept ball, he stuck his knee up in the air, and Menzies turned around and copped a knee right in the noggin.
Left knee right to the head, and he is conscious as he gets to his feet, and now has some blood streaming from his nose, using a towel from the trainer that just stopped that momentarily. So that's going to make it awkward for Jai Menzies as he tries to get the treatment from the doctor on the boundary.
Hobbs with the free kick. Forward of the wing for Essendon. Long ball towards the hot spot. Wiedemann in from the side. Doesn't quite bring down the mark. Goldstein gets it off the bounce. Under pressure. Clearing kick coming there from Powell. Out towards the wing. Umpire says insufficient intent. Free kick to Heppel and the Dons on the wing. Infield to McGrath. Long kick back towards the hot spot. Logan from the side juggles it and takes it.
Kicks just to Bailey Scott, who's able to reel in the mark at right half back. Essendon leading by 5 points. 5 minutes gone, final term. A seesawing third term. Long towards Zurhaar, who just can't juggle the mark. And it goes out of play in front of the two benches.
I'd love to see the high-speed meters of an umpire when they see an out-of-bounds play where they can play it deliberate. Geez, they pick up some speed, don't they?
Acceleration.
Oh, mate, they get into it.
Just a few smaller steps. Thrown back in. Goldstein taps it down. Scott could have been cannon into the back of Nick Martin. Squeezes a kick forward. Wardlaw onto it for the Roos, though. Hand pass to Taron Thomas. Squeezes a kick towards Zurhaar at half forward. Ricochets off his shins to Sheasel. Chicks it inside 50. Coleman Jones has got it. Just was able to juggle the mark in front of Zerk Thatcher. And directly in front, 40 metres out from goal, a chance to put the Roos back in front.
That was just strength, wasn't it? It was the kick wasn't perfect. Right place, right time. Harry Sheasel just getting up the ground. Just gave Callum Coleman-Jones a chance. Just held off Zerk Thatcher with one arm, didn't he? Just kept it in front of himself. Well done.
Kicked a goal in the second quarter. The former Tiger with a big kick here to try and put the Roos back in front. Coleman-Jones starts his approach, lays into it, sends it straight through the middle. The Roos aren't done with yet. They take the lead, 12-8-80 to the Bombers, 12-7-79. 7 minutes gone, final term.
What I like, it was Wardlaw who got the clearance off the wing here, and it was Harry Sheasel, who's now playing forward, as we mentioned, coming up into the middle, and then it wasn't a great kick, but it certainly gave Coleman-Jones an opportunity to mark the ball, and really good effort there from the big fella. So they're going to win this game. As we mentioned, it's the ability to win that clearance and get the ball going your way. And with 2 players down, there's going to be a lot asked of these young players to run out this game.
Six lead changes in the match. North Melbourne back in front. Umpire lays it down. Goldstein flicks it out to the side. Thomas onto the footy. Taken high. Free kick. Gives it off to Wardlaw. Look out. Run down by Guelphy.
It's twice that's happened to the young fella. He's just got to realise that he doesn't have as much time as he's ever had in his football career. Things happen faster here, but he'll get used to that.
Guelphy kicks laterally to Merritt. Merritt chisels the ball, looking for Perkins. He takes the mark. Outside the logos on the dock side. High ball inside 50 for Essendon. Phillips down there. He can't mark. Trying to rove his Snelling. Goes again. A second time. Handball out. Now Wardlaw onto it for North. And it's held in. Ball up. 45 metres out from the attacking goal for the Dons. North by a point.
Thrown up, Goldstein wins down the tap. Wardlaw trying to find a way through traffic. Buster Tucker. D'Ambrosio lays the tackle. And it's a ball up 50 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Tossed up in the air. Phillips tries to tap it down. Onto Ataran Thomas. Tackled. Somehow got it to Wardlaw. He shrugs the tackle with a handpass to Scott. Fires the ball around the wing. Bounced in front of Coleman Jones. Dyson Heppel in front of that. And got big Coleman Jones sliding in for company. And a boundary throw in not far from where Lauren Borden's watching on.
Jai Menzies headed down into the rooms. He was holding that towel over his nose for a while on the bench, but he's gone down into the rooms to have that assessed. It didn't look as bad when I just got a glimpse of his nose. Didn't look broken, but you never know.
Goldstein swatting it down. Held in amongst the congestion. 9 minutes played in the fourth. North by a point. Trying to win for the first time since round 2. Caldwell, the clearance inside 50. Mackay's there. Defensive mark for the Roos.
He's absolutely killed his opponent today. Yeah. Has not been seen near the footy.
Mackay goes short to Scott. He'll run around the man on the mark, Merritt. Drive a low ball around the wing. Coleman Jones and Zerk Thatcher. Zerk Thatcher quickest to follow up. Picks it up. He's tackled by Coleman Jones. Now the North players are in. Stevenson falls over. Shovels it out. The umpire not really sided, so... Oh, the umpire comes in a little late.
Few high speed meters.
That was terrible.
Deliberate.
That was terrible.
Did he get a word there from the boundary umpire?
Both players pushed the ball over the boundary line.
Dyson Heppel takes the free kick, comes inboard to Caldwell, short to McGrath. Round the back to Heppel, the former captain, into the middle of the crowd. Not a great kick. A wounded duck as Larkey leads the foot race.
That's a free kick.
There's a free kick. It's coming back and it's going the way of the Bombers.
Why isn't it downfield if he got pushed after he kicked it?
No advantage, is it?
No advantage.
He kicked it backwards.
Kicked it backwards.
Heppel, take 2. Far more certain with this kick as he goes short to Caldwell. Advances it around the dock swing and finds Ben Hobbs. Veers out to the right. Sends it towards centre half forward. Guelphy sets himself, flies against Bergman. 1 grab, 2. Umpire says he pays the mark. Just at the edge of the centre square. 60 out from home. Matt Guelphy has it.
The bloke in front might have got a little finger on it.
Stringer offers a lead. He sends it in that direction. Nudged underneath it by McDonald. Snelling brought it down. Ben Mackay throws his head back. He was held, but he didn't have it. Umpire spotted it 15 metres out from North's defensive goal. The Kangas leading by a point. 2 final quarter goals to none, North Melbourne's way.
Wiedemann just to 4 touches for the whole day so far.
Mackay just thumps it long. Laverty in good position, comes in from the side, and a free kick in the end will go to Ridley. Ridley chips it over the top. Langford marks 47 out, just in play. Now he'll wheel around from the tight angle, kick towards goal. Pack forms, off hands. Handball shoveled out from Snelling. Comes to Guelphy, swings on the right and gives Essendon the lead back. A seesawing battle at the Docklands on a Sunday night. Essendon by 5 points, 13-7-85, plays 12-8-80, 12 minutes into the fourth.
Well done, Will Snelling. Little front and centre. Probably a little bit unlucky not to get his high tackle there. I think McDonald's completely ripped his head off. He's only a little fella. You still got to tackle him underneath the shoulder, don't you, Berkey? Last time I checked. Good handball off. Big Phillips in the right place there. And Guelphy just showing his forward craft, always buzzing around. Great finish. Wrestle back that lead again. What are we up to, Benny? Number 12. Is it that lead change?
7.
Number 7. I thought you said it was 11 before.
Bombers by 5 points.
I just thought Evan. That was it.
Big game for Essendon, trying to move to 7 and 5 and cement their place inside the top 8 at the end of round 12. Tap came down the way of Sheasel for the Roos. Hand pass to Phillips to Wardlaw. Tackle by Hobbs, released it to Sheasel. Sends a spiralling ball inside 50. Coleman Jones comes out, can't take the mark with Zerk Thatcher there. Hines released the hand pass. Ford gets it forward to Zerha. Shrugs one, sidesteps Laverde, finishes on the right. Great piece of individual brilliance. Cam Zerha lifting the Roos with his third. North Melbourne back in front by a point in this seesawing contest under the roof. 13-8-86 to the Bombers, 13-7-85. 13 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Well, that was Will Phillips to Wardlaw to Sheasel out of the middle. The three young fellas. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Sheasel winning the hard footy. Will Phillips stand up, being strong. Wardlaw took on the tackle and gave it back to Sheasel, who stayed in the contest. So, we get really excited about the Hawks midfield and the future of that. I think North Melbourne people should be really excited about that midfield. Although I don't know whether Goldie's still going to be there, but maybe another ruck would be very handy.
Maybe Charlie Comben, who's out at the moment. Goldstein wins the tap down again. Off to Phillips, to Sheasel, back to Phillips, to Miller-Bergman, to Hall. He'll kick out to the wing. Stevenson offering the lead. He marks. North by a point. Quarter-hour mark of the fourth. Kick towards Thomas. Low down. He can't take it. Heim paddles it out. Durham. Now corralled by Thomas. Tackled out. Holding the ball. North are buoyant here. They've lifted. The television cameraman, obviously an Essendon fan, didn't lob it straight back to Thomas. Threw it to the mark. Just delayed Thomas slightly. Thomas will go into the pocket. Here's Zerha! One hand to it, out the back it goes. Zerk Thatcher. Hind is able to mop up. Left back pocket. Nowhere to go. He'll kick long back towards the wing. Wiedemann spoiled by McDonald. Hobbs wins it.
Hand pass to Sammy Durham. Tries to work it over the top to Perkins. Ducks the tackle. Releases Guelphy. Into the middle of the ground for Durham. At high speed. Sends it long. Snelling and Hall. Snelling trying to get it out over the back. It trickles towards the behind line. Hall did well. Stayed with him all the way. They bounce into the behind post and through for a minor score. Scores level at 86 apiece.
Couple of close ones today. Zeeble receives the kick in. His kick out on the full out to Ford.
Disappointing, isn't it? A guy with that much experience does that.
Essendon free kick. Ambrosio goes to Heppel. Heppel 80 out. Just waits a kick to the pocket. Mackay leading at the footy. Takes the defensive mark. Switches the play quickly out to Tucker. Right back pocket. 16 and a half minutes in. Scores level 13-8, 86 apiece.
Over the top to Miller-Bergman. In the right back pocket up to Coleman Jones. Zerk Thatcher there spoils it out of play. And a boundary throw in between wing and half forward for the Bombers. 13-8-60. 13-8-86 apiece at the 16-minute mark of the final term. And what's been a seesawing match and far better than what we expected. Thrown back into play. Phillips up against Goldstein. Phillips initiates body contact. Taps it down to Perkins. Lost the footy. Sheasel with a hand pass to Tucker for the Roos. Kicks towards Coleman Jones. Working his way to the front. Ridley couldn't hang on to the mark. Stevenson knocks it to Thomas. Sidestep. Spin. Tackled by Ridley. No whistle. Durham puts his head over the footy. Still no whistle. Hand pass trying to come out from Phillips. Play on Sakor. It spills out the way of Heppel. He becomes a tackler on Wardlaw. He's dragged out and the umpire will ball it up. Right half forward for the Kangaroos.
It was actually a good decision by the umpire because when Thomas dropped the ball, no one was actually holding onto him.
Yep. Umpire puts it up, knocking it down. Coleman Jones to Phillips, dribbles it inside 50, attacking it at speed. Zurha taken high.
Zoo.
The bull. He was like a raging bull at that footy.
When you attack the footy that hard, you make things happen. Yep. And that's what he's done in this last quarter. He's gone, you know what? We're not going to lose this game. I'm just going to attack every single footy that I can as hard as I can. Need to take all their chances though, Benny.
Level. Got 2 fours on his back. Trying to kick his 4th goal of the afternoon. Don't mess with Zurha. North Melbourne out by a goal, 14-8-92. Essendon, 13-8-86. 18 and a half into the 4th term on Grandstand AFL. Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke.
Yeah, you're right, Berkey. You attack the footy hard, you run straight, you give yourself every opportunity and force things to happen. Mason Redmond trying to lay a tackle on Zurha there, slipped high. He's really trying to bring the energy with his one with kicking goals, but then with his little celebrations. I'm not sure about that one. A couple of his others, though, he's really tried to lift his teammates.
Give him a bit of feedback, Lids.
It certainly will be tonight, that's for sure. He's played a great game, though. 4 goals for the match so far.
He looms as the match winner with 3 goals so far in this final term. What a fight back it's been from the Roos. After a slow start, Draper wins down the tap. His own moment of inspiration. He soccers it forward inside 50. Phillips knocks it on. Langford dodging and weaving. Got around Hall. Hand pass back to Phillips. Too slow. Hall with a hand pass forward to the Roos. Wardlaw almost brought down. Got it to Hall. Slipped over. Hobbs tackled by Wardlaw. The umpire will ball it up 50 metres out from the Bombers' goal. North leading by 6 points. 19 minutes gone. Final turn.
Umpire puts it up, swatting it down. Draper, Martin onto it, has nowhere to go. Handball back to D'Ambrosio. He'll kick towards full forward. Mackay again. Durham thought he was dealt with. No free kick. Mackay's mark stands. Kicks laterally for Logue. Doesn't hit him on the full. Gathers on the bounce. Off to Bergman. Kicks the Roos to the wing. Thomas juggles the mark. One-handed. The Roos are up and about. Zurha leading at the footy. Right there with him, Ridley. Ridley brings it down. Handball knocked down. Hines sees it out. Throw in on the wing. North leading by 6 points. 20 minutes into the 4th. The last time a siren sounded in a North Melbourne game, and they were in front. Half-time in round 4.
There you go. Did they win?
No.
Oh, that was half-time. Thrown back in. Goldson and Draper in a tangle. Hobbs sockers it forward. Mackay sliding in. Takes the intercepting mark from the volley to half forward.
His 11th intercept possession, Quincy.
He's had a far better game than he did last week against the Magpies as Zeeble switches it out to Phoenix Spicer. Marks on the City wing. Back to Zeeble. North Melbourne leading by 6 points. 21 minutes gone. Final term.
I wonder how much training North have done of being a goal up with 5 minutes to go. Probably not high on their priorities.
Kicks it towards Larkey with a vice-like grip. Takes the mark at left half forward. 4 goals to 1 in the final term. North Melbourne's way. Zurha's the man. Sends it towards him. Redmond gets a touch onto it. Hand pass to Hine. D'Ambrosio ran down by Spicer. Got a topo to it. Liam Shields' hand pass into the congestion. Wardlaw tries to spin through traffic. Zach Merritt, great tackle. What a great nail-biter we've got at Docklands.
Great attack on the footy from George Wardlaw. He only knows one way as well. He just goes straight.
North by a point. Ball at half forward. Martin emerges with it for Essendon though. Kicks towards their half forward. Out on the wing. Langford marks. He'll send it inside 50. Phillips is down there. Up he goes and brings it down. Big flip.
This is nervous times here, Benny. I'll only be a little bit more nervous if it was a big Draper, but at the right side of the ball, big fella. Good ball. How good was that kick from Nick Martin across the centre of the ground to get it to Langford at half forward? Langford realised that there was an advantage forward as well. Gets it in there. They don't get any smaller, those big blokes. Just got to finish your work here, mate. It's usually pretty good.
Phillips to draw Essendon level. Kicks and misses to the left-hand side. David Roden scurrying to his right. It's a 5-point game. North Melbourne lead 22.5 into the fourth.
Mark Murphy Stories told us that the 11-year journeyman just kicks the footy as hard as he can, Andrew Phillips, and that's not a good moment from Jack Siebel. Playing on, looking for options across half-back. He kicks it out on the full. Sammy Durham takes it for the Bombers. Inside 50. Phillips can't take the mark. Draper! You wouldn't believe it, the most unlikely crummer. And the tall timber for the Bombers combined. Just the mullet was standing by the end. And Sam Draper with the go-ahead goal puts the Bombers in front by a point. 23 minutes gone, final term. 14-9-93 to North Melbourne, 14-8-92.
Jack Siebel, what are you doing there, brother? You just need to be able to find a target, or at the very least get it just long down the line to the wing and start again. Don't need to pinpoint it out of there. Great contest from Phillips. Love that he just crashed that pack, and as you said, Lynchy, most unlikely of Rovers in Draper, but he finds an unlikely way to kick a goal most weeks. I love it.
It's got seriously loud in here, Lauren Borden.
Further good news for Essendon. Jai Menzies back up. He's got his nose taped to his face like Baltimore, but he wants to come back on for these last few minutes. So Essendon will now have that extra rotation to North Melbourne.
What a warrior. Draper goes early. Goldstein stays down, taps it towards Wardlaw, who gives it off to Hall, coming off halfback. He'll kick inside 50 for North. Larkey, hands to it. Hangs on, gives it off to Sheasel. Sheasel misses. Running banana is right. Scores level. 14-9-93 apiece.
Oh, on one hand, you want Larkey to have a shot 30 metres out, 45-degree angle, but it was actually an easier shot that he gave to Sheasel. Just needed to run in and hit it straight at the goal umpire, but went the banana and too much.
Tigers 6-point winners over GWS. We've got a thriller here as well. Zerk Thatcher long out of defence. Up flies Caldwell, and he's been, in fact, it's Archie Perkins who's been paid the mark at right half back. Scores level at 93 apiece. Just under 5 minutes to go. 25 minutes gone, final term. Perkins chips it over the top, and D'Ambrosio takes the mark. Kicks it laterally boundary side. Mason Redmond marks. Can the Bombers find enough dash? Everyone from North Melbourne is in front of the mark taken by Zach Merritt, who veers out to the left. Sends it long towards 50. Lowe came charging out. It gets to the back. Guelphy's onto it. Sliding on his knees. Hand pass over his shed. Looking for Nick Martin, who ducked the head. He was taken high.
Paid it.
Langford takes the advantage and snaps it through. Cole Langford with his fourth to match Cam Zerha at the other end. And the Bombers are in front by a goal, 15-9-99 to North Melbourne, 14-9-93. Ray Chamberlain put the whistle to his mouth. He was paying the free kick for too high. Carl Langford took the advantage and put it through.
Well, goal for goal here at the moment. Outstanding game. Again, Griffin Lowe, come off your player. He spoiled the ball, but he spoiled the ball back into the corridor. You've just got to get better direction on that. That should have been boundary side. Should have been away from anywhere they could actually run the ball and kick a goal. It's okay to stop the mark. No one was marking that anyway. There's three guys in the pack, but it's those small things that kill you at the end of the day. And well done by Langford. He's kicked 4. Can't ask more than that.
Essendon out by a goal. They've kicked the last 2. Shocking bounce from umpire Wallace. He'll call it back.
Son of player.
So ball up. Umpire puts it up. Goldstein and Draper go up. Draper knocks it down. Stringer fighting after the footy. Stripped there by Goldstein. Goldstein's lost it. Just gets a boot to it. Power mobs it up. At centre half back. Handball away to Logue. To Zeeble. To Thomas. Look out. He'll kick long. Inside 50 here for North. Zerha Spoiled down, out the back it goes. Laverty, socket away by Zerha towards the boundary line. Larkey picks it up, dribbles a kick infield. Zerk Thatcher knocks it on. Wardlaw picks it up between his legs, out to Stevenson. Stevenson snap across the face. It'll bounce in the pocket. Tucker keeps it in. Spicer composed. Oh, he misses Hall with the short kick. Now Hall breaks a tackle. Handball away. McDonald comes through. Dribbles a kick out. Wardlaw goes in. Live footy. Snelling clears.
Gets a kick towards half-back. Ben Mackay sliding in, takes the mark. So North with everyone for the Bombers defensively. Inside their defensive 50, so centres it to Zeeble. Long ball, they need a flyer. Forward sets himself, spills to the back. Stevenson around the body, has put it through. Scores level at the 28-minute mark. Jaden Stevenson was the only one who didn't fly and was left to finish the job tight in the right forward pocket. 15-9, 99 apiece with 3 minutes and change to go. These two sides cannot be separated.
Well done, Jaden Stevenson. I want to give a little pat on the back to Benny Mackay. He's up to 12 or 13 intercept possessions now. Well done, Jack Zeeble. Kept it inside the field of play. Just get it to the top of the goal square. Give your forwards a chance to actually compete. They had 5 or 6 players there, Essendon, all around it.
They had all their team inside the defensive 50.
But they couldn't kill it and get it over the boundary line or keep it in tight to get another contest or a ball up. Well done, Stevenson. Sat just outside. And a great finish.
I think George Wardlaw's come off for a rest, but you know what? I'd get him back on there. 30 seconds, mate. You're absolutely starring this last quarter. Get back on the field.
A Sunday night humdinger at Docklands. A secondary ball up in the middle. Scores level. 29 minutes into the fourth. Goldstein lays it down. Thomas overruns it. Caldwell goes back to get it. Got him in his back. Free kick, Essendon and Caldwell. Picks it up. Has to go back behind the mark. Razor Ray brings him back. 29 and a half minutes into the fourth. Caldwell in the middle of Docklands. Kicks a floater inside 50. Phillips coming at it. Guelphy gets a hand on it. No mark. Live footy inside 50 for Essendon. Shields onto it. Handball to Logue. To McDonald. Kick smothered by Stringer. Ricochets away. Tucker onto it. Handball out towards the boundary. Mackay comes across. Spits out in the end. Handball out from Snelling. Away to D'Ambrosio. Snaps the winning goal. Massimo to the max. Essendon in front. By 6 points. 16-9, 105 to 15-9, 99. 30 and a half minutes into the fourth.
Well, lovely snap there. He was under a fair bit of pressure, but he got really good purchase on the footy as he was getting pushed backwards. But well done by the Bombers just to keep the ball alive inside their forward line. A couple of times it looked like it's going to end up in a ball up, but they kept alive. Big Phillips picked it up and did the right thing. Didn't snap it himself, handballed the ball off, and a goal out of nowhere. So that's what you think, something special is going to win this game. There's still a fair bit of time left, 2 minutes to go, so not over and done with yet.
They might lift the roof off at this stage. Stevenson at one end, D'Ambrosio at the other. Draper wins down the tap. Phillips pinballs off. Caldwell throws his head back. Goldstein lays the tackle. The umpire will ball it up. Essendon leading by 6 points. 2 minutes to go. 31 minutes gone in the final term. Draper and Goldstein spills away McDonald. Pinballs into Draper. Guelphy lays the tackle. Players dive on top. The umpire circles waiting to see if the footy will come clear. It does. Phillips' hand pass to Powell. Hand pass back into the congestion of McDonald. Back to Powell. Hand pass out wide for Hall. Taps it away from Menzies. Back on the field. Draper slides in. It spills the way of Caldwell. Tired bodies all of a sudden. Draper just hacks it forward for the Bombers. A bouncing ball. Logue runs onto it. Phillips flight body. He held him in the eyes of the umpire. And North will take it at left half back. Bombers by 6 points.
Cannot believe the Kangas did not get Wardlaw back on the field after that goal was kicked.
And now stuck on the other side. They won't be able to.
What can North muster? Logue kicks towards half forward. They need a mark. Not one there. Fisted away. Shields onto it. Don't argue. Has to dribble a kick away. Attacking the footy. D'Ambrosio, the goal kicker. Kick out towards the wing. McDonald can't quite gather it. Ricochets into the middle of the ground. Hall breaks the Merritt tackle. He'll kick long. Out in front of Larkey. He's bracketed. Ridley doesn't quite mark. He'll get the handball away to Redmond.
He gathers and kicks it long towards Stringer. Couldn't take it. Mackay's onto it. Tackle. Gets the hand pass back to McDonald. Sends it long inside 50. They need a flyer. Laverty underneath it. Zerha came late. Spoils it down to forward. Free kick. Going the way of the Bombers. Flat was Laverty in the eyes of the umpire by Zerha as he came crashing through.
He had to go. He wanted to create a contest, but just a touch too late, wasn't it?
And Jaden Laverty into the final minute just has to execute here for the Bombers. Decides to send it as long as he can. Around the city wing. Draper and Phillips there. Phillips got hands to it. Couldn't take the mark. Spills off Logue. Out towards Stringer. He hand passes forward. He was over the boundary line. And a throw in centre of the city wing. Bombers by 6 points. 24 seconds to go.
Time and enemy for North. Goldstein hooks it to the back. Essendon are there. Clear and kick into the middle of the ground from Perkins. It'll tumble out towards the dockside wing. Stevenson tracks after it. He'll pick it up. He has nowhere to go immediately. So he looks towards half forward in the Larkey direction. Laverty fists it away. Ford arrives. He's tackled. Driven to ground. Held in. Essendon avoid a calamitous slip-up against a North Melbourne side that live the Shinboner mantra. They win by a goal, the Dons.
Our boys will play this grand old game, are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They'll try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly up.
So Essendon win 16-9, 105 to 15-9, 99. Massimo D'Ambrosio, the winning goal at the 31-minute mark of the final term. We had 8 lead changes over the course of the afternoon. It was seesawing right throughout. Essendon just with their noses in front at the final siren.
See the Bombers fly up, up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this grand old game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They'll try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly on.
What a game to round up. The Bombers winners by 6 points as they springboard up to 6th spot on the AFL ladder. 7-5 with the Blues to come next Sunday ahead of the King's birthday. And for the North Melbourne Young Chargers under Brett Ratton, it's the second time in 3 weeks they fall agonisingly short. The Bombers in front of 40,488 and Docklands in Melbourne. Winners by 6 points. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke.
Well, what a game. We were, well...
I've got to apologise, Berkey, first. I come in a little bit flat. I had a text come through.
Yes.
Surely you have to take back your unenthusiastic opening. Well, yes, I do. I was actually enthralled by that game late in the piece there, Berkey. It was good for all of us to watch, but we saw some of the emergence of some new young players, didn't we?
Absolutely, and look, I don't think you're on your lonesome there with a little bit slightly pessimistic at the start, but it turned into a ripper, one of the better ones that I've seen all year, and well done the Bombers. They hung in there. I wouldn't say that was a team bound for the finals type performance. I think their forward line, apart from Langford, was really ineffective. Wiedemann had an ordinary game. And who's their third tall down there that's going to take marks? I'm not really sure. Stringer doesn't play that style of footy. He plays as a small player, even though he's relatively tall. So it's not great. They certainly need Peter Wright back into that team to give him another option up there. But for the Kangaroos, it was a really, really gutsy effort. And that gutsy effort was led by their young players. So Powell, Phillips through the middle, and it was Sheasel and it was Wardlaw. That's the first time I've seen George Wardlaw in the flesh, and I don't normally make big statements. It normally takes a while for somebody to win me over, but I love him. He's an absolute beauty. I just love the grit in that last quarter. I don't know why on earth he was sitting on the bench for the last 5 minutes.
They might have run out of rotations, Berkey.
Yeah, well, they probably stopped at 70, even though they had an extra 5 just in case. But just the way he attacks the footy, he does both sides of the game. He tackles, he wins the ball, he works hard. I just love the way he went about it today.
He had 17 disposals and 7 clearances, but it might be one of the most eye-catching 17 disposals you'll see, because a lot of the in and under stuff, the ability to dodge and weave out of clearances, he's going to be a fan favourite at Arden Street.
Under immense pressure a lot of the time too. I mean, you don't often say that about a guy dominating a last quarter. 7 touches and all of them handballs, but yet he won it in tight and he got it out to someone else who could then go and do something else with it. So, yeah, he's going to be a star. I've been watching him for a little while now, Berkey, coming through the ranks, and knew the player that I think we're going to see, taking a little bit longer to come and play for North this year, but between him and Harry Sheasel, they've got a couple of absolute beauties there for years to come. So, and Will Phillips again, you know, I sung his praises earlier. I thought he was really good last week. He's ended up with another 28. Doesn't kick it a hell of a lot. Had the 9 kicks and 19 handballs today, but just he's starting to find his feet and show everyone that I'm an inside ball winner. Had the 8 clearances as well, which is really good, and a large part of the reason why they come back into that game. They were getting smacked in that first quarter, but it was the work of Will and a few others in there that actually got the game up and going. Liam Shields got to give the old dog a bit of a pat on the back too. He quelled Zach Merritt after 16 and 2 goals in the first quarter, and put the clamps on him. Didn't have the same influence. Still ended up with 34. Zach Merritt, arguably probably one of the best players on the ground, but he wasn't. We'll think he was going to get 60. So
yeah, at the first quarter, a lot of good was coming from those 16 possessions. If he wasn't actually kicking goals himself, he was giving it to other people who were kicking goals. So still had a lot after that, but you didn't get the outcome from them because they were a little bit more under pressure. But yeah, to me, Ben Mackay was outstanding down there. I think what you said, 12 intercept possessions.
Yeah.
Wiedemann was just nowhere to be seen, and I think every single Essendon person will be going to the medical room and going, "Hey, Big Pete, how far away are you, mate? Because if we're going to compete with the top teams, we need you back out there."
I reckon Big Pete won't be too far away.
No, he was touted as potentially this week, maybe next week. They have the bye after the Blues, with the Bombers now 7-5. It's a funny game footy. You think to Dreamtime at the G, the winners by a point with Sammy Durham kicking the goal there, the winner. Massimo D'Ambrosio here, a 50-point win over the West Coast Eagles, wedged in the middle. But the fluctuations between sort of being inside the bottom half of the 8 and potentially being outside, it might be a really interesting back end of the season.
Yeah, you're right. Like they've been able to hold on twice now, which has been fantastic. It's good for your morale, I feel, like as a club who's trying to build something under a new coach and got some younger players playing. I think that's really good. But yeah, they were challenged today. There's no doubt about it. And you got to give a little bit of credit to North Melbourne too and their ability to fight back after looking like they weren't interested in that first quarter. So well done to them. Just check the stats, Berkey. Ben Mackay actually had 14 intercepts. I'll be interested to see what Jordan Ridley had at the other end, because I think he was pretty good as well. He ended up with 10 himself to go with his 21 disposals. So both bookends intercepts, or Mackay's a bit bigger than Ridley probably, but they were both pretty good today. But they're on the right track, the Bombers. You can see it. I think they, hopefully we'll see Nick Cox come into the side at some stage. Elijah Sardis played his first game today for their twos. Get Pete Wright back. Reid, I'm not sure when we're going to see him, but he's highly touted as well. Harry Jones out for the season, unfortunately, but we'll see him again at some stage. They really rate him in their forward line. So for what they need, I don't know if you're thinking about it, I think it's probably a key back if I was going to choose something, but I think that's what they thought Reid would be.
Yeah. Bombers winners by 6 points. Let's join Essendon with Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinchy. A bit of applause as Essendon came in. To be honest, they look absolutely spent and they've headed straight into the circle.
this grand again, are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up, the other teams that don't fit. They all try their best, but they can't get in as the Bombers fly up. Woo!
So a lot of tape in that circle with a few different injuries across the heads of some of the Bombers players, but we're hoping to chat to Jai Caldwell shortly.
Thanks, Lauren. Give us a yell when you're ready to go. Essendon winners by 6 points, 16-9, 105 to North Melbourne, 15-9, 99. So often in the close games, it's the could have been moments that you lament, and it felt like it was going to be that way with Harry Sheasel missing.
Yep.
There was the Andrew Phillips set shot on goal where he wasn't able to capitalise, but some phenomenal goals to close out the match. Kyle Langford with his fourth. Cam Zerha kicked 3 of his 4 goals in the final term. Big Sammy Draper being the crummer for Phillips and was able to snap it through. Jaden Stevenson from deep in the right forward pocket to answer back for North. And Massimo D'Ambrosio with the eventual winner for the Bombers.
That's
so,
a good goal.
Given the fact that it was 8th versus 17th, it felt like the last quarter, just having a quick look, the pressure rating was over 200 for both sides. So with North down to 3 on the bench, it was a far better spectacle than what we thought heading along today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing that you want to see if you're a North supporter. You want to see pressure applied to the opposition. Don't allow them just to freewheel, and their ability to change that after that first quarter was really impressive. But Essendon were able to withstand it, which was fantastic.
The little kids get their opportunity to head out on the Docklands for a kick-to-kick. Let's head down to Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm here with Jai Caldwell after a pretty tight and tense, frantic game, but particularly those last few minutes. Can you paint the picture of what it was like out there?
Yeah, it was pretty solid, actually. It was a bit goal for goal at the end there, so thankfully got the 4 points, but it was a bit of a slog. I know myself, I was running around on the treadmill a bit, but we had to bring back to the contest and pressure, and we got that right and got the 4 points.
It's probably a game that a lot of people would have penciled in as an easy win for the Bombers. It definitely wasn't that. How hard was it to break away from North Melbourne, and really you barely managed to in the end?
Yeah, full credit to them. We started off pretty well in the first quarter, but for them to come back and obviously make it a tight finish, all the credit to them. But we knew that going into the game it wasn't going to be an easy win as externally as everyone reckons it was, but we knew they had confidence going into it, and they're on the rise.
Laverty, Menzies, 2 of your teammates, them ended up with bandages around their heads. So do you. Could you just tell us a bit about what happened? Looked like a bit of blood to the chin.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a stoppage and sort of turned around and caught one on the chin. Sort of happens, done it. I had to keep on touching it. Didn't want to get sent off like the other boys. Had to stay out there, so tried to make it a bit sly.
Let's head upstairs now to some more questions from Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio.
Jai, Brett Delidio here, buddy. Good to speak to you. Well done today. Mate, I just want to know the chat that was had with you guys after quarter time. You got off to a great start, but then obviously the Roos started to play some good footy coming at half time. It's relatively close. And what was the mentality and the chat like around the boys?
Yeah, we started off pretty well that first quarter, but we know that they're a good stoppage side. You can see a few of their young guns coming through with their contest and pressure work, but we just had to try and match that and beat them around there because we know that it stems from there. But they were good. They brought it to us and bet us in there for a fair period of that quarter, so making sure that we got back to that, and yeah.
And big Andy Phillips, mate. Is he claiming that pass to Nick Martin there in the third quarter? Is he claiming that as a pass, or is that just a blatant stuff up from the big fella?
I'm actually not sure which one you're talking about.
Where he sidestepped a couple and then went to kick a banana and come off the other side of the boot.
Big fella moves all right, doesn't he? But he was going for the goals, no doubt about it. But we ended up in a goal, so goal assist for him.
John Nathanberg here. Well done today, mate. I thought you guys, when you were able to move the ball by foot and have a lot of marks through the middle of the ground, you looked really, really dangerous. Do you think that is a way that you guys play that's synonymous with the Bombers, that ideally those short passes to scythe your way through is part of the Bomber plan?
Yeah and no. I feel like that we've got many different ways to move the ball up the ground. We don't want to be a real stagnant, slow team. We like to use different options. Obviously, the short probes that we can use to build our way up, and then also we can take the contest. We got a lot of good small forwards and mids that we can get to the long down the line kicks. So just making sure we mix it up and being predictable to each other.
And you've got one more game before the bye, am I right?
Yep, Blues next week.
Yep, cool. You're watching the other teams on their buys at the moment and thinking, oh, geez, I wouldn't mind that.
No, it's good. Like we've 3 on the trot now. It's good to keep the momentum going. So hopefully we can take the 4 points today and build on that for next week against Carlton, because we know they're going to come back firing. So to go 4 or 5 games into the break with 4 wins. It's going to be huge. So if we just keep building on that, we'll be laughing.
Joe, it's Matt Clinch here. Can you tell us a bit about the improvement from last year to this year? Just a bit more holistic. Obviously, the thriller at Dreamtime in the G, a good win against the West Coast Eagles. But where do you feel has been the key improvement from last year to this year?
Probably just playing to our strengths. We got a lot of guys playing in their correct roles and bring to the team what they're good at. But also, as well, like we can finish these tight games as well, except for the Collingwood game, which was a bit of a letdown. But these tight finishes, we're actually managing to pull away from them. So to be able to keep doing that and everyone sticking to the system and making sure that we rock up each week is the main thing.
Yeah, you just got to find a way to win sometimes, and you did that today. How close is Peter Wright?
I think he's this week, so very exciting.
Beautiful. A big King's Birthday Eve against the Bombers, against the Blues. Best of luck. We look forward to seeing you then.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Joe Caldwell joining us from the Bombers rooms. 6-point winners over North Melbourne. 16-9, 105 to the Roos, 15-9, 93. A couple of 6-point ball games on a Sunday, which must be said on paper didn't look like it would be as appealing as what it proved. The Tigers winners by 6 points. Marlon Pickett with the winner there. And the Bombers with Massimo D'Ambrosio picked up on the mid-season draft last year. The sub into the action in the last quarter. And what do they say? Making your moment count.
That's it. He did, didn't he? It was... I was watching him closely because you can see the guys with fresh legs late in that last quarter, and he was buzzing around, but just couldn't quite get his timing right as to when handball receives and dropping the little holes. Couldn't quite get on the end of it, but then worked hard to get to that spot. And luckily enough that big Andy Phillips found him, and it's a terrific finish, especially to put your side in front. You remember those ones, Berkey, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You're sitting on your backside for most of the day. You want to come on and have an impact. Might as well kick the winner when you come on.
And for North Melbourne, who are in 17th position, 2 wins and 10 losses. They now have lost 10 on the trot. But Brett Ratton would feel like you touched on George Wardlaw. Ben Mackay had a great game. Taron Thomas with his return. Cam Zerha's last quarter. Nick Larkey continues to compete.
Will Phillips.
And Will Phillips. Coleman Jones, they got a little bit more out of. He was the most targeted player inside 50 for the Roos. So it feels like there's some opportunities there for positivity at Arden Street, despite the win-loss record.
And I think the biggest positive sign to come out of today was that they looked disinterested in that first quarter. They looked like witches' hats, essentially. And their ability to say, no, we're not standing for this, and we're going to get our game up and going. We're going to put some more pressure onto the opposition, which is what they were able to do. And that's what you, as a North Melbourne supporter, walking away is what you'd want to see. You want to see your team coming here and fighting and not just rolling over and giving up easy goals. Yeah, at times that's going to happen with breakdowns and whatever else, but they fought it out, they scrapped, and then you see the emergence of these young kids coming through, and their ability just to compete is what we'll say, right, that brings you back next week.
And Berkey, you made the point during the call that, if you forecast forward, Harry Sheasel, George Wardlaw, Will Phillips, there's enough there. There's a very exciting midfield that is going to eventually come of age.
Yeah, and Luke Davies-Uniacke, he still hasn't hit his straps yet either.
Joe Simpkin too.
Yeah, Simpkin unfortunately went off today with concussion, and Greenwood went off with concussion. And the funny thing was that when they lost those two who started in their midfield, they actually came good. They're actually better without those two on the field, which is a good thing. I was thinking, without those sort of bit of leadership, bit of grunt in there, are they going to get run over? But they didn't get run over. And so, again, that's another tick in a thing to love about what North Melbourne did today. But, that's, you liken it a little bit to the Hawks. We're all saying Hawks, good job Hawks, okay Hawks, because they've got that midfield coming through. But a little bit more of what we saw in the second half today from those young fellas. And I think we, quite rightly, will be saying the same thing about North Melbourne.
What I was impressed with, and it's probably a little nod to Brett Ratton, is that he didn't go to say, we've lost Simpkin, Greenwood out, there's 2 experienced players. All right, I'm going to bring Zerha in from the forward line and put a senior body in there. Liam Shields, you can just play in there the whole time. So, you know what? Bugger this, I'm going to play my kids. I'm going to see what they're made of. I want to back them in and see whether we can, get some great experience into those guys. And that's what, I'm glad that he did that, because then those boys will learn so much from their, just that experience of being in a tight game and having to win the footy.
You know me, Lids, I'm more of a positive guy than a negative guy, but Jack Siebel would want that kick in back where he turned it over. The Bombers got it inside 50 once more. I was interested in Jai Caldwell's sort of response that they were sort of in a seesawing contest as to whether the Bombers would have been able to just control the tempo a little bit more, or whether that's just a maturity thing that over time they'll learn to control the momentum just a little bit better.
Yeah, I think what the Bombers haven't got is a wealth of experience right across the board in terms of games played and mature players that can control that. You look at the best sides, and the best sides when I was playing was those Cats. They seemed like everyone was about 30. It just felt like they all knew exactly what they were going to do at any given time. Now, the players aren't overly old, but they know exactly what each other's going to do, but they continue to play that game. They talk about playing that full 120 minutes. The Bombers look like they've got one gear, and that's just, let's go. And we're going to try and score and make it hard. And that has reward, but it also has a fair element of risk to it as well. So, yeah, well, in time they'll learn how to do that better, Clinchy. But, yeah, that takes time playing together.
So the end of 12 rounds, an uneven AFL ladder with just 7 games this weekend, and the 3 sides having the bye. So Collingwood on top of the AFL ladder, 11 wins and 1 loss. 4 teams having the bye. Can't quite do my maths today. And Port Adelaide in second position, a game further back, 10 wins and 2 losses. Melbourne in third, 8 wins and 4 losses. The Brisbane Lions having played 1 less game alongside the Saints. The Lions 8 and 3, the Saints 7 and 4. The Bombers jumped to 6th position, 7 wins and 5 losses, with the Bulldogs on 7 and 5. Geelong surprisingly jump up to 8th position, 6 wins and 6 losses. The Crows are just outside on percentage. Fremantle in 10th position, a game less played, 6 wins and 5 losses. Big win for the Gold Coast Suns, 6 and 6. The Swans a game less, 6 and 5. And then the Tigers 4 and 7. The Blues 4 and 7. In 15th position, the Giants 4 and 8. Hawthorn 3 and 9, North Melbourne 2 wins and 10 losses, and the West Coast Eagles 1 win and 11 losses. So it takes us to round 13 of the AFL. It gets underway on Thursday night. The Sydney Swans taking on St Kilda. The Bulldogs take on Port Adelaide on Friday night. The Hawks and the Brisbane Lions from the MCG on Saturday. Adelaide and the West Coast Eagles in the twilight from the Adelaide Oval. The Dockers and the Tigers on Saturday night from the West. North Melbourne and the Giants on Sunday from Tassie, with the Blues and the Bombers on King's Birthday Eve. And then that Monday clash between the Demons and the Magpies that we're all looking forward to. And Geelong and the Gold Coast Suns have the weekend off. So the big talking points that come out today, and late today, confirmation that Tom Doedee, the Adelaide defender, is out for the season with an ACL.
Disappointing.
So the Crows looking to fight for a spot inside the 8. Unfortunately, they had a bad loss in Darwin on Saturday night against the Gold Coast Suns.
They looked so good early too, didn't they, the Crows?
Their defensive stocks are going to be tested with Tom Doedee out for the season. Jordan Ngoe is going to have a nervous wait as he awaits to find out from the match review officer. Has him been sent straight to the tribunal for his bump on Elijah Hewitt, deemed careless, severe and high. And we're sort of all in the opinion that he's at least going to miss probably 3 weeks at this stage, you would think.
Yeah, that's where I think it, when you get sent straight to the tribunal. But did Cozzy Pickett's get sent straight to the tribunal? Or was that just...
No, I think they did get sent straight to the tribunal.
He only got 2, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
Check through the notes, yeah.
Then what was the other bump at that same time that we're
difference with Cozzy was that Bailey Smith got up and played, and this one's concussed.
Out. Yep.
So Jordan Ngoe looking at a period on the sideline. So Collingwood's next few weeks, they've got obviously the King's Birthday match against Melbourne, the bye, Adelaide, Gold Coast and the Western Bulldogs in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So as we touched on last week against North Melbourne, he joined us in the rooms after their win, Jordan Ngoe. He's been in career best form, leading Collingwood's clearances and career best disposals, but not just kicking goals and spending time in the forward 50, but now a genuine midfielder who can kick a goal a game at the moment.
Yeah, look, and they're going to miss him, no doubt, but I think that's what, ultimately Collingwood strive to be, is that team that doesn't rely on one player. He was really good last week, but I mean, they've got a number of guys that can, cover, what Jordan Ngoe can do. And I think I said that last week when we were on air, is that he's been really good this year and he's finding that consistency, but he's also had a few games where he's been a little bit quiet as well. So, it's disappointing for Geordie that he has these lapses in and out in seasons, that he doesn't put it all together for one whole big season. But they'll find out this week, and Collingwood will work out how they're going to best deal with it.
Do they play Taylor Adams and Tom Mitchell in the same centre square, or do they look for someone to bring a bit more outside run?
I don't think I'd have those two playing in the same centre bounds. I think I'd have Taylor Adams potentially playing more as a high half forward, getting up and then working back. I think Nick Dacos can get through the midfield and play some minutes in there. Jack Crisp can spend more time in there.
He's probably the one who's missed out on some midfield time with the inclusion of Tom Mitchell getting a little bit of midfield time rotating with Taylor Adams. So, you're right. He might get an opportunity. And Clayton Oliver set to return for Melbourne for the King's birthday clash.
Yeah, and he's a huge in for Melbourne. You see, although Christian Petrarca really took his game to another level the other night, I think they just complement each other so well. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes when he comes back. Hopefully he's fully fit.
We've sung the praises of North Melbourne, unfortunately going down to the Bombers by 6 points. Let's head down to the Kangaroos with Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Clinch. I've got Luke McDonald, North co-captain, with me. Thank you for your time. I guess, can you put into words that loss? Obviously, it's pretty difficult, but you did have such a good crack at it. What do you make of it right after it?
Oh, yeah, obviously the immediate feeling is, shattered. Suppose let another one slip, similar to the Sydney game, different circumstances. But, when you look at the whole picture, though, certainly proud of the efforts. We were challenged early and the boys really fought back, especially down two really experienced players for us. So we're going to take a lot out of this game, and I think the last three weeks you can see a real clear brand from us, and a lot of the young guys are really stepping up and really playing solid roles at the level which is all you want to see.
You did mention the Sydney loss, obviously, today, and another tight loss. It's quite a mental game, football. Can you explain what it does to you mentally as a club to kind of have to go through a couple of those tight losses and not get those 4 points despite your best efforts?
Look, to be honest, both of them missed opportunities. We're in positions to win both of them and let them both slip. But it's a big shift from the previous few weeks before that. We've been playing really disappointing footy, but I think you can really see, as a North Melbourne fan, just the brand that we're trying to play. You can see the young fellas that are just improving leaps and bounds, and I'd say it's more exciting than anything. Obviously, very disappointing. You want to win every game, but there's a lot we can take out of that, and I think those tight games, you can learn so much from them, and I think you can only be better from it once you sort of sit back and review things we could have done differently in those final few minutes. But it was just goal for goal there. I mean, if there was another minute, we probably could kick the next, but we didn't. So we'll lick our wounds and get down to Hobart against the Giants next week.
And you mentioned a couple of injuries. How tough was it in the second half to have just 3 on the bench with Hugh Greenwood and Jai Simpkin out?
Oh, look, you don't really notice that. I mean, as a player, you just go out and try to do your role. But, it's obviously, disappointing, especially Jaiza, I want to co-captain. He's having a great year, and Huey'd been in great form too, so disappointing. But in saying that, gives an opportunity for Georgie Wardlaw, Will Phillips to really step up, and they both did. So both those boys will take a lot out of that extra responsibility.
Let's head upstairs now to our experts, Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke.
Luke, Brett Delidio here, mate. You must be pleased, disappointed with the loss, but the former Benny Mackay today, I thought he was outstanding. He had 14 intercept possessions and absolutely shut Sam Wiedemann out. Having your big guys stand up down there, mate, must make your job a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked closely with Benny for a long period of time, and he takes a lot of pride in his performance. He for one, was on the front foot and disappointed with how he went last week, but he puts in so much work behind closed doors, and you just knew he was going to respond, and that's exactly what he did. So he's one of the leaders of our footy club. So, really proud of how he played today. But I think Griffin Logue as well, those two are creating a really lethal partnership down back there. I don't know how many, but neither of them had a massive pre-season, so they're really starting to gel, and hopefully they can be the linchpins of our side for a long time.
And up the other end, mate, Big Zoo, mate, he's going to run straight and provide a bit of energy. He certainly did that and kept you boys right in it there in that last quarter.
Yeah, he definitely provides a lot of energy there. He's, he's one of your favourite teammates because you know what you're going to get every single time. But, him and Larks, CJ as well, Coleman Jones, he provided a real target as well. So the three of them are working really well together, and we just got to keep getting the ball to them. Got to keep giving them opportunities to show the players they are. And Steve-O as well. A lot of those forwards are really starting to work together because we're getting them a lot more supply.
Luke, Nathan Burke here. Tough luck today, mate. Going to be totally honest, at quarter time, the enthusiasm in the box for a ripping game wasn't overly high. But you guys managed to turn it around. Is that on one hand, it's a bad thing because you started off fairly slowly, but the other hand, you can actually turn it around against a good side. So it's sort of like a half good, half bad. How do you guys approach that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I reckon the last 3 weeks we haven't started games great, but we've responded. And for a young side, that's what you want to see. You want to see him respond and get in the contest. And even last week against Collingwood, I think won the last quarter by 4 goals or something like that. So you can just see the character of the young guys come through. That they don't stick their toes up. They dig in and yeah, I hope North Melbourne supporters can see the brand we're creating. So. Yeah, I'm certainly very proud of the efforts of the boys to get back in the game, but at the end of the day, we want to win footy games, and that's why we're all here.
Sorry, mate. Is that something that Rats will address really pointedly at the start? That the fact that at the moment you wait until you get a smack in the mouth and then you start fighting back, you come out swinging first?
It's something, yeah, we certainly got to address, and I mean that's the thing. It's probably a good thing that now we can sort of start addressing the finer details of the game. Starts and how we close out games instead of just worrying about that consistent effort. We're getting that a week in, week out, and especially from those young guys inside who are really setting the standard for us. So I think that's just the maturity of the group that we're going to start learning more on specific details of the game that we've got to work on. So we definitely got to start better, and it's been a theme for us.
Luke, it's Matt Clinch here as we let you go. The return of Taron Thomas into the AFL as part of the leadership and one of the captains of the club. What was the metrics that he had to pass to return to AFL level?
Yeah, he's done everything we've asked of him, Taron, and he's worked really closely with Jen Watt and Toddy Viney, and as I said, he's done what's asked of us, and it was good to see him come out today and play his role.
Good on you, Luke. Best of luck against the Giants next week.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Luke McDonald joining us after the Bombers' 6-point win over North Melbourne, 16-9, 105 to the Roos, 15-9, 99. But the young Kangas midfield would have lost no admirers for those that came 100%. Along this afternoon.
Exactly right. And you can find positives out there for all North supporters with that. It's been... it's fantastic that they've got some... we've got someone down out there after the kick-to-kick.
Oh, no.
He's had a bit of a spill.
This is not good because the mobile stretchers had to come out. So that is not what you want concussion. At 10 to 7 on a Sunday night, just going out for a kick-to-kick. We'll keep an eye on that.
Hopefully he's all right.
Yes. We've had 2 thrillers today. So ahead of your votes, or who's got the votes in the ABC Football of the Year, you two can decide who's doing that.
I'll do.
We're going to relive a little bit of the final stages of what was a thrilling match earlier today. A 6-point win by the Tigers at Giants Stadium. Richmond 16-14, 110 to the Giants 15-14, 104. Here's the thrilling final stages as called by Daniel Garb and Brett Sprigg.
Ball in the air. Briggs wins it down. Angwin bursts through for the Giants.
Hey.
It's worked through towards the arc. Got a goal square, and it's through for a goal. Was it Briggs? The big man Briggs took it out of the ruck on the second effort and bounced through the goal. The Giants are ahead again.
Out to right half forward. Pickett swoops on it. Got some break on his opponent and found Prestia inside 50.
Just class.
Excellent kick from Pickett. Prestia has marked it. He's got the chance. Jesus will test him. He'll kick from just inside 50. 45-degree angle to draw scores level. Kieran Briggs going all the way back to his own goal line. He knows this could fall in that vicinity. Prestia from just inside 50. Distance is not an issue. He's kicked a massive one for the Tigers. Dion Prestia, the veteran. 3-time flag winner at Richmond. Veston's fairest winner in 2019 with a massive goal in the last to draw scores level. Who is going to prevail? Scores are level. Rewell handball backwards to Taranto. The Tigers will go into attack. Samson Ryan's under it. Fists it away. Pickett's there. Finds space. Marlon Pickett to put the Tigers in front. He kicks a goal. He kicks a goal. He's second of the game. Richmond leads by 6 points. And that might just be enough for the first win under the reign of Andrew McWalter as interim coach. Marlon Pickett looming as Richmond's hero.
Probably enough here for the Giants. They need to get a quick kick forward clearance. Richmond get another stoppage. There's
38-minute quarter and counting. Lockie Ash there for the Giants. Meets Pickett head on. Wrapped up. Hand pass off to Green. Desperate stuff here. Martin goes in hard. So too does Cal Brown for the Giants. And that'll be it. Richmond reigns supreme for the first time under Andrew McWalter for win number 4 in season 2023. What a road win by just 6 points at Giants Stadium.
In front of 9,723 fans at Giants Stadium. Goal for goal in the final term. Kieran Briggs put the Giants in front before Dion Prestia and Marlon Pickett came up with a winner. The Tigers advancing by 6 points despite the Giants kicking 7 goals to 5 in the final term. A quick snapshot of the two coaches, starting with Adam Kingsley.
It's disappointing, obviously. I felt like we had plenty of chances. Thought the game was played the way we wanted it to play. There were some things we needed to do better, clearly. But all in all, I was pretty happy with the game, just not the result. I felt like we put ourselves in a position to win the game and didn't necessarily capitalise on the opportunities that we had. I felt like we allowed them to score too freely, too easily, and they capitalised really well. And then when it's a coin flip towards the end of the game, it's they win a contest here or the ball bounces whichever way and it can go your way. So whether it was that simple or not, I need to have another look.
We've sort of spoken about all year. We've been in a lot of games. We've been close, and we've just had trouble winning games. So, just a belief it builds. Great day for the club. The VFL had a close win too. They kicked a goal after the siren. So, I think it just builds belief that we're doing some things well, and certainly need to improve some areas of our game. But just a bit of belief for the group.
Interim Richmond coach Andrew McWalter with his assessment on his first win, sitting in the chair for Damien Hardwick, who did send a photo that he's watching from the US with a beer in hand, taking in the Richmond game still despite no longer being their coach. Matt Cletcher, Ben Cameron, Nathan Burke and Brett Delidio with you. The Tigers winners by 6 points and the Bombers winners by 6 points. A couple of Sunday classics to close out round 12.
Absolute classics.
Not quite the game of the season in your eyes, even though it was the thrilling finish.
It was close. Yeah. Well, there's a few mistakes and that in there. Some good set shot kicking, which was good, but we saw the emergence of a few kids. I reckon that's a pleasing thing for me. I love when you see kids come out and really show their stuff. That's what excites me the most, probably.
The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Brett Delidio's got the hand pass.
There's a lot of good players out there, actually. Hard to pinpoint. I think, though, I'm going one vote to Ben Mackay, 14 intercept possessions. I thought he was outstanding, blanketed Sammy Wiedemann. I don't reckon he'd need to have a shower today. He's already been given a bath. 2 votes. I actually went with Nick Martin. I thought he was outstanding off the wing today. 21 disposals, 2 goals, 9 score involvements, kicked it 100%. And some of those kicks were across the ground and really opened it all up for their half forwards and forwards to get on the end of. And 3 votes, this bloke set the game up in the first quarter. Zach Merritt, I thought he was outstanding. 34 disposals, 11 marks, 6 tackles, 7 inside 50s, 10 score involvements and 2 goals. 8 clearances to go with all that as well. So 3 to Merritt, 2 to Martin, 1 to Mackay.
Brett Delidio's votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year after the Bombers' 6-point win over North Melbourne. So there's a couple of games to really look forward to next week. All of a sudden, the Bombers and the Blues has got a bit to like about it, maybe just because of the struggles of Carlton, but their challenges. The Bulldogs and Port Adelaide on Friday night at Docklands. There's a bit to like about that.
Yep.
And the King's birthday clash between Melbourne and Collingwood. Who are you tipping in that one, Berkey?
No, I don't care, to be totally honest.
Just play along with it.
Play along with it? All right. No, Collingwood. I'm not tipping against Collingwood at the moment. I think they're the best team going around, or playing the best football going around. Are they a better team than Melbourne in terms of talent? Probably not. But the way that they're playing is unrivaled at the moment. And Melbourne, a very talented team, but not playing great football.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What about the Saints and the Swans? The Saints looking to bounce back after a loss?
I don't have a lot of faith in them at the moment. That's it's a bad thing to say. You know, they started off playing a particular brand of football, and that brand of football was really winning games, but they've struggled to capture that brand of football for even half a game. It's just a completely different looking style of game that they're playing at the moment, and if they can't recapture that, well, then they're going to find themselves drifting week by week out of that final 8, just the same as they did last year.
Where is that game? Down here? In Melbourne?
It's in Sydney.
Yeah, okay. That might make it a bit more interesting.
So Thursday night footy, round 13 kicks off in Sydney. The Swans and the Saints, the Bulldogs and Port Adelaide from Docklands on Friday night. Even the Saturday night in the West, Fremantle and Richmond, the two sides trying to make up ground. The Tigers with a win, even though they're probably coming from too far back. And the Dockers have advanced their way up to 10th spot, 6 wins and 5 losses. So all of a sudden they're within striking distance as well.
Yeah.
What time's the Spanish F1 tonight, Ben? Are we half a chance?
I don't actually know.
I think it's late.
I think it's about
11.
11 it's normally 11, yeah.
So that's probably too late for us, isn't it?
Bit late.
For those of us that are clocking in early on a Monday morning.
See how we go.
And the Under-18 Championship you're watching a bit earlier today, Lids, the first game.
Yep.
What caught your eye?
There's Allies actually stitched up SA. The Allies usually start off a fair bit slower, but got out of the blocks early and touched up the Crow Eaters over there in Adelaide too. So a couple of boys played some good footy. Big Jed Walters, a highly touted player from Gold Coast Academy, kicked good out a big day actually. Kicked 3-5 or something, or 3-4 in the end.
Yep.
Took a lot of big marks. Riley Sanders from Tasmania had a heap of the footy. 35 odd touches.
All right, that's round 12 of the AFL coming to a close. Thanks everyone for your work throughout the afternoon. The Bombers winners by 6 points. The Tigers winners by 6 points over the Giants. A couple of thrillers on a Sunday to see out round 12. We look forward to your company next Thursday as round 13 of the AFL continues. It's Sydney taking on St Kilda. Don't forget Corbin and Ben.